Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestation.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
You gotta eat what you kill. You gotta go out there. You gotta hunt for your meals.
We all have that ability to connect with people, to be that motivational person in somebody's life.
You gotta let people know there's certain lines you don't cross, and that there's gonna be consequences if you do.
Man up.
If you are an adult and you are in a relationship, that person's emotions are not your responsibility.
Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
The devil, during slavery, destroyed the masculinity or manhood of the so-called Negro. No man. No man. Right now you got to be trained all over again to be a man.
When someone is obligated to do something, it is binding upon them to do it. And failure to do it causes reaction.
Man up.
Position make you rich. I don't have that type of richness. My richness is life forever.
If that people knew their glorious past, if that people knew their glorious past, if that people knew their glorious past, then they would be more inclined to respect themselves.
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job, is to spark somebody else watching us.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestation.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
You want to tell me about yourself? Go get your friends. I'll tell you who you are based on who your friends are.
Don't just live and die. That's an ugly existence. Make your life matter. Make your life count. Live a life where people can actually mourn you for the things you left behind, not just because you were around and existed.
We need strong black nuclear family.
Yes. Yes.
That's what it is. Mother, father, son, daughter, all in the same house with a focus on the family unit as a whole.
We had Tulsa, Atlanta, New Jersey, Detroit. We had Rosewood. We had Black Wall Streets all over.
The Republicans aren't for us, but the Democrats aren't for us either. And we should have no alliance to any political party. We only have alliance to what is in our own best interest.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestation.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
At the end of the day, as men in the community, we must stand together and be counted, because people look to us for guidance, leadership, and protection. And if we are not about that business, we are not on our job. Here we have grown-ass man conversations in the spirit of that purpose. Anthony Malcolm, Bobby Drake, Major Gage. We are. This is Manifestations 2020.
Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
All right. Welcome to another week of Manifestations 2020. I hope you guys like the brand new intro. Major shots out to Major for getting that done. That is our new intro now. I'm so excited about it. I'm so glad that everybody was able to witness it. And Major, you could go ahead and elaborate more about why you felt the need to give us something exciting like that.
Yeah, man. Real talk. I mean, we get down in here, man. We cook. You know, we really rip all the meat off the bone on this show. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we just needed something more aggressive and something that was, you know, like the old theme didn't really have any words on it. You know, so I felt like, you know what could be better than to take a gangster ass beat and take some of our quotes, you know, some of the amazing things that we've said during the course of this show, and then also take some of the amazing quotes from some of our ancestors and great leaders in the past and mesh them all together and just make this goulash just fresher, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just make something really hard hitting and something really impactful that is going to stay with people. You know what I'm saying? And like, it really talks about what we, you know, intend to do. You know what I'm saying? We intend to create better men. It keeps saying throughout the whole joint, man up. You know, and it talks about how people look to us for leadership, guidance, and protection. And, you know, if we're not talking about that, then we're not on our job. You know, I thought that was very important to say. And I think that, you know, that was a pretty creative way to put it all together like that. Shout out to Sister Veronica for helping with the edits as far as the cuts of the I told her what I wanted, and she actually, you know, put the vision together and made the video aspect of it come to light. I produced the music and came up with the audio sample. So yeah, man, it was fun. I thought it would really add an extra little punch to what we do here.
Yeah, that's super dope, man. I appreciate it. You know, when you shared it with me the first time, I was excited to drop it. We still had to go through some more edits, and you got the edits done. Yes. And it's fire. So I'm so glad we're starting off 2020 banging out with new layouts, new music, theme, and definitely new guests. Man, this is going to be a great year for us. So as you guys can see, we're growing because you guys are investing in us. We're growing, and you're seeing the product of the growth due to you guys, you know, being behind us and sponsoring us and supporting us in everything we do. So we want to make sure that we put a great portfolio out there for you guys. So when you brag on us, you know, you got something real worthy to brag about. You know, the aesthetics and everything is on point. So shout out to all of the viewers, the listeners, and everybody out there that supports us, friends and family. Man, just keep doing it, and trust me, it's going to get bigger and better. We told you that. All right. So we got a great show. We got a great show for you guys tonight. I wanted to make sure, because this is the last week of heading out of Black History Month. So I wanted to make sure that this show was a very impactful show going out. So what I decided was that we're going to talk about some uprisings that we went through and some fast, you know, moments in history that they don't tell you, you know, in your everyday classes or just everyday discussion with different people. There's a lot of history that's hidden that we don't know about. And they make it seem like this is one of the reasons why they push so much of slave ships and slave narratives, and then have all these celebrities with the slave mentality and the docile mentality and weak mentality, because what you see visual is pretty much what you emulate. So a lot of times you see weak, docile people, you feel like that's the way to succeed and that's the way to get things done. And history will tell you, you don't get things done until you push back. You have resistance, you have uprising. That's what changes the dynamics of things. That's what gets stuff done, and get things not on a symbolic way, but in a tangible way. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times when you're docile and you're so shaky and flaky about, you know, getting justice done, they give you symbolic stuff to hush you up, and you cool with that because you don't want to push the table, in a sense. So we just want to show you some, you know, aspects of Black people that rose up, that need the recognition, that don't get talked about in the history books. And a lot of that information gets submerged underneath. And it's, you know, people like us that want to show you guys that there's a whole different side of our ancestors and our elders. And they weren't weak pushovers. They were some strong people that did some whoop ass in the process and got shit done for us to live the way that we're living now. So definitely want to get into that later. As you guys know, we're wrapping up Black History Month. And again, we have to give a shout out to our sister, super dope sister at Sippin' Scent Candle Bar. So we definitely want to make sure you guys get in these orders and use our coupon code. Like I said, the coupon code gives you about 20% off. And that's pretty good, man. That covers taxes and a little bit more, depending on how much you spend at the shop, So definitely check it out at www.sipandcentcandlebar. That's SIPANDSCENTCANDLEBAR.com. And you can definitely follow her on at Sip and Scent Candle Bar on Instagram. So don't forget the Manifestations 2020. Put that in the code box and get those savings ASAP, man. Great things in the store for men and women. All right. So last week we had we got down to I think that was the 18th. So last week Sunday was the 18th. We're not going to continue Black History Month into March. That's a new week. So what we decided here was we're going to end all the way to February 29th with a lot of Black history. So we're going to finish out the month this week by stating all the great things that's done throughout the different day throughout the month. So we're not going to be here on the 29th, but we're going to give you the information so you guys can post it every day until the 29th. So you'll be ahead. So everybody that's watching now, you'll be ahead of the game to post this information if you guys want. You can get it off the pages on our Facebook Manifestation page. All of these are on there already. You can take it off and post it on whatever day that day is to be current with the information and share the people on your list that you know some information that a lot of people might not know. All right. So we're definitely going to go through and finish up all our great elders and the things that they have done for Black History Month. So we'll start off with February 19th, and that is the Tuskegee Airmen. So shout out to the Tuskegee Airmen. On February 19th was the historical day that the Tuskegee Airmen had made historical progress as the first African-American pilots to fight in World War II and maintain an aircraft in 1940s. The 332nd Fighter Group and the 477th Bombard Group of the United States Army Air Corps were constantly subjugated to segregation and racial prejudice during the service in the Army. However, they remained brave in combat and as the rest of the military. Nevertheless, Jim Crow laws kept racism alive and well in America. On February 19, 1942, Black America's Tuskegee Airmen were inducted into the armed forces. Each African-American pilot and 5 Haitians in the unit had their training at Tuskegee Institute, and the group has dubbed the Red Tail Angels. The reason for this is that the bombers they escorted perceived them as angels. The tails and propellers of their warplanes were painted red. Tuskegee had produced 992 soldiers by the conclusion of World War II. They flew almost 200 bombing support flights, damaging 409 German planes and halted 950 fighting operations on ground and downed a battleship. There's a great movie by Red Tails, phenomenal movie. You guys need to go check that out if you haven't checked that out. Phenomenal movie that highlights our Tuskegee Airmen. Shout out to the Tuskegee Airmen. All right. Next up, we have John Singleton. All right. So John Singleton on February 20th, 1992, 24-year-old recent film school graduate John Singleton became the youngest and first Black film director nominated for an Academy Award for his movie Boys in the Hood. The upcoming Asian drama set in gang-ridden South Central Los Angeles brought the inner city realities to the screen in a way not seen in Hollywood before. Its success created opportunities for the generation of the black filmmakers to tell their stories. Singleton made history as both of the youngest and first African American nominated for the directing Oscar, His Boys screenplay, and received the Academy Award nomination. He went on to win the New York Film Critics Circle Award for Best New Director and MTV Film and TV Awards for Best New Film Director and Best Movie, among other accolades. So shout out to John Singleton. And remember, his unapologetic spirit and behavior and output also created the movie pioneer of one of his actors, which was Ice Cube, a rapper who turned into a filmmaker and started making phenomenal movies and hiring black people. So that's what the energy does. The spirit gets other people inspired, and then you create other people to instill in greatness as well. So shout out to John Singleton for being that pioneer that we needed so much. All right.
Yeah.
Next up, we have the Black Rebellion in Tampa. A lot of people not really aware that we had a Black Rebellion in Tampa, but in the 1987 Tampa riots were two riots in Tampa, Florida that occurred in February and April 1887 that started after two African Americans died in the encounter with police. The years of 1986 and 1987 will be a time of racial tension in Tampa as well. The riot started after a 23-year-old African American man named Melvin Hare, who was paranoid schizophrenia, got into a fight with his family and died after being restrained by police when they intervened. The fight started out after Hare started reading cards from other players in the card game. His mother told him to stop and then attempted to burn someone with a cigarette. A fight broke out and the guest ended up calling the police to get him to a mental health center. The guest said on the phone that Hare had a knife to get a quicker response, despite the fact that he didn't have one. Officers who responded got into a fight while trying to restrain him. Eventually, one of the responding officers, David, put Hare into a artery restraint that he learned at the police academy. Later on, the attempts were made to revive him, but was unsuccessful. As we could see, these attempts, when you know your history, a lot of things come back into fruition in the future, because that same incident is the same thing that similar that happened to Eric Gardner up there in New York, and he got put in a restraint that was taught by the force and was an illegal restraint, and he lost his life in the process. So the Black Rebellion in Tampa, I don't think a lot of people knew about that, but that is some history that you guys can definitely dial down into and check out yourself. Next up, we have on the 22nd of February, we have DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. They earned their first Grammy at the 31st Grammy Awards in 1989, winning Best Rap Performance for Parents Don't Understand from their second studio album. He's the DJ and I'm the rapper. So shout out to DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. I remember that song was definitely a song that I used to play all the time. All right. All right. So next up after that, we have Elston Gene Howard, right? So Elston Gene Howard, who is he? In 1955, he was the first African-American player on the Yankees roster. This was 8 years after Jackie Robinson had broken the MLB color barrier in 1947. Howard was named the American League's most MVP player for 1963 pennant winners after finishing third in the league in slugging average, fifth in home runs, becoming the first Black player in AL history to win the honor. He won Gold Glove awards in 1963 and 1964, and latter seasons setting AL records for putouts and total chances in season. His lifetime fielding percentage is .993. As a catcher, was a major league record from 1967 to 1973. He retired among the AL career leaders in his putouts, 7th at 6,447, and total chances 9th, 6,977. Baseball catcher Howard was born in St. Louis, Missouri. In 1965, Howard signed a $70,000 contract with the New York Yankees and became the highest paid player in history of baseball at that time. So shout out to Elston Jean Howard. We know we always talk about the different baseball players, but nobody seems to mention his name because he's a catcher. So we definitely wanted to highlight him here on Manversations. And if you have children that are, all of them not going to be able to play first baseman, second baseman, they can be a catcher as well. So let them know, these are the type of things that inspire our children to find different positions in different apps, so definitely shout out to that. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So February 24th, we have Rebecca Lee. On this day, 1864, Rebecca Lee became the first African-American woman to receive an MD degree. On this day, 1931, Lily Brown, the civil rights activist, was born in Troy, Alabama. On this day, 1974, associated with criminal justice, was founded by the NABCJ. In the mid 19th century, it was rare for a woman or black men to be admitted in a medical school. In 1860, due to the heavy demands of medical care for American Civil War veterans, opportunities increased for women physicians and doctors. Due to her talent, Crumpler was given a recommendation to attend the school by her supervising physician when she was a medical apprentice. That year, there were 54,543 physicians in the United States, 3 of them whom were women. None of them were African American, making Rebecca Lee Crumpler the first and only African American physician in her class. In February 8, 2001, was declared Dr. Rebecca Lee Crumpler Day in Boston as part of the 190th anniversary of her birth. All right.
Absolutely.
So definitely shout out to Rebecca Lee for doing something so sensational, pioneer for our black women out there. All right. Next, we have Hiram Rhodes Revels. Hiram Rhodes Revels became first black congressman born in Fayetteville, North Carolina. On September 27, 1827, the moderate leading politician joined the U.S. State Senate in 1870. He was an American Republican politician, minister in the African American Methodist Church, and a college administrator. Born free in North Carolina, he later lived on and worked in Ohio, where he voted before the Civil War. Elected by Mississippi legislator to the United States Senate as a Republican to represent Mississippi in 1870 and 1871 during the Reconstruction era. He was the first African American to serve in either house of the U.S. Congress. And why it's so important that we talk about the Republican, remember, black people were the Republican Party. And they did a lot of great things in the Republican Party. So when a lot of people say a lot of black people vote Republican, that's because we had conservative issues. We were the one who basically instilled the conservative lining that a lot of people today line up with. You don't really align with the party itself, but there are a lot of properties, there's a lot of ideology that resonates with us that comes from the conservative side. So just wanted to highlight that. Definitely do y'all research on black people in Congress back in the 1800s, and you'll see so much powerful things that they have accomplished during that time. All right. So February 26th, we have Black men's voting rights. Black men got their voting rights on February 26th. As you guys know, it's the 15th Amendment. On February 26th, after rejecting more sweeping versions of the suffrage amendment, Republicans posed a compromise of amendment which would ban franchise restriction on bias of race, color, and previous substitute. After serving a difficult ratification fight and opposition from Democrats, the amendment was certified and duly ratified and part of the Constitution on March 30th, 1870. According to the Library of Congress in the House of Representatives, 144 Republicans voted to approve the 15th Amendment with 0 Democrats in favor, 39 no votes, and 7 absent votes. And in the Senate, 33 Republicans voted to approve, again with 0 Democrats in favor. Why am I bringing back to back about Republicans and Democrats? As you guys can see, back then, the Democrats were real racist about Black people. So when you see the Republicans voting, those are the Black people inside Congress that were voting for that, vote to go so Black people could get the voting. So I don't want you guys to get confused. That's why I say go back and do the research on Black people in the Congress in the 1800s. And you see we got a lot of great stuff done under that political party. All right. Next up, on February 27th, we have Charlotte Ray. All right. So Charlotte Ray, born in New York City in 1850, Ray became the first Black lawyer in the U.S. and the first practicing female lawyer in Washington, D.C., according to the Leadership Conference of Civil and Human Rights. The trailblazer began teaching at Howard University in 1869 when she first got accepted into the Howard School of Law. Ray applied under the name C.E. Ray because the university was so reluctant to admit women at that time, according to the organization. But we were able to graduate in 1872 and open her own law practice before leaving law to teach. Due to race and gender discrimination that plagued the profession, Ray opened a law office in Washington, D.C., but racial prejudice proved too strong and she could not obtain enough legal business to maintain an active practice. By 1879, she had returned to New York City where she taught in the public schools, and in late 1880, she married a man with the surname of Frame. Little is known of her latter life. So definitely shout out to Rebecca Lee. Not Rebecca Lee, but Charlotte Ray for definitely being on code and being codified to get her degree. But this is one of the reasons why we say whenever somebody opens up Black business or has a Black profession, we definitely need to support and make it a lifestyle of doing business with them. You know, it's so unfortunate that a woman like herself at her stature was able to open up a private practice, but didn't have enough support from her own people and other people outside to make sure that it lasted a long time, and pretty much had to close down her practice. So, you know, this is very important for us going in the future to definitely support our own, so that way their practices don't close as well. All right. So the next up, we have Theonis Spare Monk. I don't know if you guys know about him. But he was an American jazz pianist and composer. He had a unique style and made numerous contributions to the standard of jazz, including Round Midnight, Blue Monk, Straight, No Chaser, Ruby My Dear, In Walk Bud, Well You Didn't, Well You Need It Not. And Monk is the second most recorded jazz composer after Duke Ellington. The famed pianist graced the cover of Time. The issue featured a deep dive into the jazz icon impact on music. The issue came out around the time the civil rights movement had started to take off, and the tension between Black and white musicians were heading to the boiling point with the jazz community. Racial woes, and at the heart, much bad behavior in jazz, and the racial question and largely confusion between the life and the art of the journalist. Barry Farrell wrote in his essay, The Loneliest Monk, Negroes say whites can't play when they mean that whites had always taken more money out of jazz than their own music warranted. Whites complained of Crow Jim when they mean is the work is scarcer than ever, even for them. The fact that most of the best jazz musicians are Negroes, and there's very little work to go around on either side. In 1993, he was awarded the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in 2006, and he was awarded another special Pulitzer Prize for a body of distinguished and innovation musical composition that has had a significant and enduring impact on the evolution of jazz. Monk was indicted in the North Carolina Music Hall of Fame in 2009. You guys knew about Monk?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
Love some Monk.
Bad man. A bad man.
Definitely.
And Monk,
All right.
and Disney, Charlie Parker, all them boys.
Last but not least, all right. So we have Hattie McDaniel. As you guys know, this is America's #1 quote unquote mammy. She was an American actress, singer, songwriter, and comedian for her role of Mammy in Gone in the Wind, 1939. She won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress, becoming the first African American to win an Oscar. She has 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, was inducted into the Black Filmmakers Hall of Fame in 1975, and in 2006 became the first Black Oscar winner honored in the U.S. postage stamp. In 2010, she was inducted into the Colorado Women's Hall of Fame. In addition to acting, McDaniels recorded 16 blues sides between 1926 and 1929 and was a radio performer and television personality. She was the first Black woman to sing on radio in the United States. Although she appeared in more than 300 films, she received an on-screen credit for her only 83. Her best-known other major films for Alice Adams in This Our Life, Since You Went Away, and The Song of the South. McDaniel experienced racism and racial segregation throughout her career and was unable to attend the premiere of Gone of the Wind in Atlanta because it was held in white-only theater. As Oscar ceremony in Los Angeles, she sat in a segregated table at the side of the room. And in 1952, McDaniel died of breast cancer. Her final wish to be buried in a Hollywood cemetery and was denied because the graveyard was restricted to whites only at that time. Wow. So even on a deathbed, she was still racially discriminated. And even though she had the fact of an illustrious career as a Black woman under the Jim Crow era. So salute to this lady for doing so great and doing so much great stuff, but yet still on her dying bed, her last wish still wasn't granted because racism oversees that. And I'll end on that note. All right.
That's it. That's it. Wow. Wow.
Definitely.
That's how I go, though.
That's how I go, man.
That's it.
All right. Huh?
Yes, man.
That's it. White supremacy is the order of the day, man. That's how it go.
I'm white, and I say so.
That's crazy.
That's the way it always flows, you know. And it's a sad reality to what's been going on. But, you know, even as we push today, we still are facing almost the same things that our elders and ancestors are facing. You know, we're trying to get stuff done, and we're still getting pushed out the way. I was hearing some things the other day about casinos, right? They were talking about casinos, and people were bringing up how Black people were winning at casinos, and they weren't even getting the prizes. There was even a guy. There was a Black guy who won a lotto of like 352 million in New York.
I just saw that today. Yeah,
you saw that?
I just saw that today.
They told him it was 3 days after the drawing, and they told him that his ticket wasn't valid, and they showed it. Yeah, they said they showed some other numbers or something like that, but he had took a screenshot.
They said they got the numbers on the site wrong.
Yes, they said they got the numbers on the site wrong.
They made an oopsie.
He screenshot the numbers on the TV just to make sure, because you know he was on the phone with his friend, and I was like, wow, that's crazy.
He's gonna own that casino. He's smart, because if you be able to pull that shit on me, we gonna lawyer up, we gonna light your ass
up.
Matter of fact,
Tariq had an issue with that with a casino out there in Vegas, I think several months ago. I remember that too.
Yeah.
And they do some
said
profiling of us there as well too, in some of them Vegas. Not all the Vegas casino spots, but they do some janky stuff out there. There's been some reports of some sisters. If you miss and you over there looking too good, you wearing your nice little sexy skimpy black dress and whatnot, the hotel staff automatically starts profiling you as being a sex worker, and so they do all kind of janky things like have security follow you from behind from a short distance. They'll knock on your rooms at random times during the night trying to see if you're up to any kind of stuff, whatever. Corey Holcomb, shout out brother Corey in 5150. They actually tried the mess on a homegirl of his that he was there at a hotel with, and she hit him up, and he had to go and get brolic with him, like, hey, we got an issue. And so they were sweating her. It was talked about that she was there in her room. Someone that called themselves security was trying to open the door saying, we heard some screaming coming from inside. She's like, no, I didn't. There was no screaming coming from inside. It's just me. And they try to get information. So they try to force the door open and everything. And so when she went to report them, they tried to profile her like she did something wrong.
Yeah.
And so Corey was there hearing all this, like, all right, well, you know what? She doesn't feel safe anymore. She wants to get her stuff. They're like, okay, we're going to send some people with you to get your stuff back. And so they're like, no. So he walked up with her. They try to do all kind of stuff, like keep the doors open so we can see where you're putting stuff. All kind of crazy bullshit. So gotta watch these people, man. They really don't want us. Some of these spots, they hating on us when our pockets are getting proper, when we looking good, when we having a good time. A lot of that hating come our way. So you gotta be mindful of that nonsense. And I know travel is a big thing these days with Black men and Black women alike. I know travel has become a thing for many of us to do now. We want to go out there and see the world, see different places, which is wonderful. And I know sometimes it can be janky trying to pull trips with other people. So a lot of people are opting to travel solo. But I'm imploring y'all, when possible, and this is definitely for the sisters, but for the brothers as well too. When possible, try to travel at least with one other person.
Yeah.
And this is, and if you travel in the continental U.S., if you travel in the United States, one of the 50 states, that's not as much of a necessity. But especially if you're going overseas, and especially if you ain't got no people over there, if you don't know anybody, no one you can tap in and check in with, who can, game you up on what's going on, kind of give you them that little inside information that you won't really have as a tourist.
Real talk.
You can have a great time, but understand you on your own. These places, they don't move the way the U.S. does. They don't have with all the issues we have over here. Communication isn't as thorough. You try and report something to authorities, that might take several days to come through. Meanwhile, your ass is out there, getting worked over in somebody's jungle, in somebody's desert, whatever. So, be mindful about that. Try to get one other person, travel in pairs, travel in groups. The more, the merrier. But you gotta be mindful. There's some beautiful things to see out there, but we ain't in paradise just yet. All right.
Definitely.
Real sick.
Yeah, it's real janky out there. And I did remember that Tariq said that he had won, and then they tried to clear it and be like, yeah, you ain't win nothing. He was like, it was some real janky shit that went down. And even with the Black man, and this, like I said, it's so important to be unapologetic. And it can also harm you as well when you are very outgoing about it, right? So when you're outgoing about it, you're also a target. $352 million, and he wanted to start up something where he would help out families that were going through mid-shifts, and also families that were being out of loan process to get homes. So he wanted to really get back to building his community and give them opportunity with this money. So when they heard about that, they was like, we cannot give this man this money because it goes against what we're trying to do, which is keep Black people at a apartheid state, financial apartheid. Because when you keep your enemies at financial apartheid in that state, you're able to control them with the minimal amount of money, and that's one of the reasons I think, they don't want to give the reparations, because a lot of people out here will be doing a lot of great things, and you cannot suppress the people that you have been suppressing for so long when they get that paper. That paper changes everything. As you guys can see, remember, a lot of black people are campaigning for Trump because during that time, a lot of black people had got a lot of money from the little Trump checks. And a lot of people flip those little Trump checks and end up becoming millionaires during that time as well. I think it was like over 145 people, black people, became millionaires. And these are people that would never have been millionaires before the pandemic. But when you sit around, you got paper, your mind starts thinking you ain't getting the slave whip because a lot of the businesses shut down. So now you're thinking about, hey, I gotta get out of this because I can't. What if another pandemic comes? So I gotta create some things. And black people started being creative and started opening their business and doing all of this stuff. And next thing you know, they was flourishing. So, that's one thing. When we get that paper, man, the mindset is totally different. I know a lot of people say we'll do ignorant stuff, but everybody ain't on that ignorant stuff. And especially nowadays, everybody's being very strategic and critical about how they use their money and trying to get money to work for them and not work so hard for the money. So definitely, man, definitely got to watch out the system and try to do what we need to do to get outside of that system. All right.
Oh, yes.
So I did want, before we get into tonight's topic, I did want to go into a weekly trend. So our trending weekly topics, and our trending weekly topic that I wanted to talk about was this movie that came out, right? So Bob Marley had a movie that just was released, and it's a lot of people went out there and they said they loved the movie, but I noticed that a lot of people that knew the history of Bob Marley knew what was going on. A lot of Jamaicans that's rooted in the island that knows the real history of what's around the movie and who Bob Marley is and the key players around Bob Marley. They were highly offended by this movie. And the movie was played by this British actor. He definitely had a look to him that kind of resembled Bob Marley. But when I tell you, his accent on it was just so horrible. A lot of people outside of the Jamaican culture, they wouldn't mind it. They don't think it's nothing bad. But the people who really, really are in tune with the island, in tune with the culture, understand this was kind of like a slap in the face. And a lot of people really wanted to resonate more with the Jamaicans representing Jamaica versus having a British actor represent Jamaica. Now, a lot of people do know the history of Jamaica and Britain. As you guys know, the British, they actually conquered and ruled Jamaica for a long time before they got their independence. A lot of Jamaicans you will find in the UK, in the British sector, because of that connection, has brought Jamaicans to travel to Britain to go ahead and get some work or to live outside of Jamaica just to find a way of surviving and making a ways for their family. So I have some family that's in the UK, that's born in the UK, currently right now in the UK. And I remember I did the thing with my brother after our father died. We kind of did a little ancestry dig, and we found some of our ancestors on our dad's side is rooted back to England, because my dad's father was a Puerto Rican man that was doing work from England. So when we trace back, we got a lot of history, and we will be documenting that in the future. But I did want to share that part of it to let people know there are Jamaicans in England, but the British accent and the patois accent is totally different. And to be authentic with Bob Marley, who has been on the island for years, and had to flee to England in order to do the song because he was being targeted and almost got killed. He was a failed attempt of assassination, and that's why he went to England. So I just wanted to give that part of the history of it. But I do want to play this video and then get in a little bit more of it. All right.
Can't do a movie about Bob Marley. I know use a black Jamaican for me. You know use your yard people them. Me sorry to say no disrespect, but Ziggy Marley, you are shit. Excuse me French. I mean not take it back. Because you sell out your father. The whole of Uno and live off on your father legacy. You know what it's like? You go your bed with dead feel hungry.
But I is really living us full of surprise.
You sell out your own black sister and go marry to a girl down in Israel. I'm not with the people are people. Oh! But come on, man. You're going to use
the mindset we have because it's a total different being a real Jamaican.
You know,
we don't know about the culture. We used to sell Ziggy, you know. Ziggy used to buy from a winner puppy market, you know.
Alright.
With them VW bus, you know.
Okay. You know what it's like? Any one of the actors there know what it's like to have cold ground was your bed last night and rockstone was your pillow? Any of them know that? Aki, you must sell out. Nasty, dirty sell out. And if it was up to me alone, for them make $1 after that movie, they would have name their supper. They're worthless. I'm sure Bob Marley, if he could have get up out of his grave right now and talk, it would be this, up where the world would have find out. It is a despicable, nasty, stinking, dirty act that boy did to him daddy. Sell out. So when me listen to this man, I say, wait, how this a man here? Get them a people that are acting at them a movie. What they know about life? What they know about is the black road and lie down in the middle of road. What me say? The poor people. What they know about? They don't know nothing. Well, you have to use them, the people, them man, they can't act Jamaican. Because even when they listen to the little clippings, black man them, even when you listen to the clipping, their accent, you can know say, them a make you up. They not have the real Jamaican talk. You know when we talk about, when we say we word rule. Come on, man.
Yeah, but that's a part of our culture where the people in Jamaica feel enough. Hear the accent.
Come on. But even right here in Canada, Miss Lou, come here and make them teach the patois in a university. Everybody want to be yardy. And that's why I get these Americans to act as if them are yardy.
Yeah, shout out to that mom's right there.
Yeah, she ain't in the movie. She was in the movie. Y'all go see that shit.
She needed it.
Damn. Oh,
that was the real authentic accent, the real Jamaican accent that we wanted to hear. You know, like I said, they had an accent in there that was like, good dog, yeah. Like that's not what Jamaicans. That's not our lingo. You know, it was a broken English, slurge, British American dialogue. Like that was not patois, you know,
bruh,
at all.
Once I found out that guy, first I want to correct moms respectfully. Moms don't come for me. I want to correct moms. That guy ain't no American. That's a English guy, okay? And this English guy, once I found out that there was an English guy, not just playing a Jamaican, but playing Bob Marley, fuck out of here. No, man, you can't do that. It's not just the patois. That's part of it, right? But it's also, and Tariq talks about this when he talks about non-FBA actors playing FBA roles. It's the spirit. There are subtleties within Jamaican culture. You understand what I'm saying? That are going to come across as authentic or inauthentic. You understand what I'm saying? There are subtleties. There are nuances. You can't train that. You understand what I'm saying? And when you're talking about a historical figure as significant as Bob goddamn Marley, we don't want no imposters. God damn, like, dude, come on, bro. And the way she cussed Ziggy's ass, she lit his ass up, bro.
As she should.
Woo! But that's what we need. We need everybody out there talking like that. I knew it was bullshit from when I saw the first preview. When I heard about it, I'm like, this is gonna be some bullshit. But moms, nobody else can make a video after that. Like that. Moms eated that shit.
Yeah. She did. What you want to say, Bob?
Woo!
No, man, that
was epic.
Look.
Shout out to her. I wish other Jamaicans will come out and speak on that, because white Hollywood is going to keep doing this until they get a firm rejection from the group of black people that they're trying to depict. You know, Cynthia Erivo was a shit Harriet Tubman. You understand what I'm saying? Like, she was trash in that role. You know what I'm saying? This guy, I didn't even see it, but I know he was trash playing Bob Marley. You dig? What's the Will Smith playing the African doctor in Concussion? And Will Smith is, you know, a very good actor, but again, you know, they do this literally all the time. You mentioned earlier, we were talking before the show, talking about back in the days when Steven Seagal had that bullshit ass movie where he's beating up all these Jamaicans. You know what I'm saying? And they got these little $5 accents and, you know, these little $2 wigs. Come on, man. Come on, man. We gotta do better than that. Like, you gotta learn to respect. This is to anybody in Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? You gotta learn to respect people's culture, particularly you black people in Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? And Ziggy should have never signed off on this shit, because apparently nobody else did. That should have told you right there something was up. Something was out of kilter. You know? My wife went to see it, but I just refuse to see it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I might watch it when it comes out and it's free just to hate watch it. I know it's going to be some bullshit, but like, when we see where they're going, like Mom said, when we see where they're going, before the movie even dropped, they should have boycotted that shit. That's how I feel. The same way that, you know, FBA's pretty much boycotted Harriet and that shit flopped. Same difference, because representation is not just, oh, we're going to get some token black person to come up here and reenact this role. That's not representation. Representation is when you got some authenticity. You understand? Representation is when you tell a real goddamn story. So, you know, they got to stop selling us this whole representation rap, you know, pretending under the guise of giving us some representation. Fuck that. You want real goddamn representation, you know, and that goes down to telling the whole story, you know, getting the authentic people to play the part, getting the goddamn accents right, getting the wardrobe right. I could go on all day, because whenever they're telling our stories, they fumble the damn ball. It's always something that's way off and out of kilter. You understand? And we need to be very vocal about the fact that we don't appreciate the disrespect.
Correct.
Because they'll keep doing it otherwise. You know what I'm saying? All white Hollywood cares about is the bottom line. So they figure, this is how they think. You know, if we put a darkie up on the screen, we get our little darkies' asses in the chairs. You understand what I'm saying? And, you know, we're going to get our little darkies' asses in the chairs, enough of them so that we can make some money, right? And then the rest of the moviegoers that are going to come out are going to be the whites. And we're not going to make the movie, you know, too provocative so to make the white people feel bad about what they've done historically. You understand what I'm saying? This is how they think.
Exactly.
So, you know, they got their whole agenda programming. You understand? And like, that's that bullshit. If you're gonna make the movie, make the movie. If you're not gonna make it right, just don't bother.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we need to make these films flop when they come with some bullshit.
Definitely, I
Exactly.
agree. I don't know why the family didn't. I don't know why they signed off on it. That was crazy to me. You know what I mean? But
Well,
who
Ziggy
knows?
signed off. Who else signed off?
Ziggy's the one that, for the most part, has been well. He's been. I don't know who else has been had a part of it, but so far as Ziggy has been the most notable Marley, um, to really throw his hat in behind this, and really, for the most part, he's been the person who's really this has been his brainchild as far as giving the endorsements and everything.
Yeah.
I know that they mentioned that the actor who's playing Bob, because of course, he was getting all kind of flack from Jamaicans about being in the role. People
Right.
mainly primarily saying, "Well, why can't they get an actual Jamaican to play Bob Marley?" He's done interviews where he said that he himself felt a kind of way about being asked to play the role, but he was assured by Ziggy was okay. He had the blessing. Ziggy and the family even let him listen to recordings that are private, that only the family had access to at the time. No one else has heard these recordings of Bob, so he could hear the way Bob speaks, hear his voice, listen to him speak on things, get an idea of his mindset and everything. So uh, he said that's why he went along with it. But they've really been trying to really usher this in. But ultimately, what it all boils down to is we cannot allow the ops to run point in telling our stories.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to understand, Hollyweird is not in the business of putting out entertainment. At least not entertainment as we know it.
Real
They're
talk.
not, and I keep saying this to people over and over again. They always looking clueless and bewildered when things like this happen. But it keeps coming back to what I keep saying. Hollyweird is a $1 trillion, hell, a multi-trillion-dollar industry.
Mm-hmm.
No
These
doubt.
people are not spending between the casting, all the different film companies, the technology that's produced to advance video and movie and cinema, advertising dollars, market research, market psychology, all the different levels of investment that it takes to continue to produce film and movies, whatever. These people aren't doing all that just to put a smile on your face or to bring some tears to your eye. They're not doing that because they care about you being entertained. It's about messaging. It's
Mm-hmm.
about programming. It's about sending values. People are conveying their ideas, their ideals, their thoughts, their desires, their propaganda to you. They're looking to brainwash you. I don't mean they're trying to pin you down and hold your eyes open and have you walk around like zombie. Or maybe I do mean that. But they're trying to get you to think a certain way or to see things in a certain light. All right? And they're very vested. That's why I look at a lot of these films that keep putting out. One of the common bullseye boards for this recently has been Marvel. When Marvel first started out, they were hot, especially when they were doing the original Avengers movies. They were hot, all kind of great stuff being put out. But the last several films, more or less, have been complete and utter flops. Why is that? Because despite the earlier success of Marvel, where they were largely playing to the comics, they were basically doing what fans have been wanting them to do for decades and basically put the stories from the comics on the big screen, bring everyone's imaginations to life. Instead of that, they out here now trying to do all kind of gender bending and flip-flopping. They're putting all kinds of wokeist or liberal agendas in the films. They're doing all girl roles. They're doing all female-based movies, whatever. All kind of stuff where they're inserting LGBTQ characters into places and positions that shouldn't necessarily be there, or to push storylines that don't require that. And that's not to say that there isn't a time and a place to have female characters, because the Marvel Universe has had all kinds of top quality female heroes and female villains. There have definitely been over the years some significant LGBTQ characters in that whole universe as well too. However, it's the going out of the way to promote and to push this and make films solely based on that at the detriment of storyline that's been an issue. And they've been sinking in major 9-figure budgets or 9-figure expectations behind these films and they've been flopping horribly.
Mhm.
Now, in any other business venture, it's common sense. It doesn't matter how well you're doing. If you're making a project for X amount and you're failing to meet your projections, common sense says, okay, we need to stop doing this. We're losing money.
Yeah.
But they keep on throwing the same garbage out time and time again, knowing what the result is going to be. Why? Because it's not about making money. It's not about entertaining the fans, which is what would also be making the money. It's about pushing out your message, consequences be damned. And they're perfectly fine with wasting millions and millions and millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars in a losing effort, so long as they are advancing the needle, or that they think they're advancing the needle for their agenda. That should tell you everything you need to know about what their purpose is. I keep telling you I don't want this. You keep forcing it down my throat. Literally, I'm not going to have to buy it. I'm trashing it in reviews. I'm trashing it on in the reviews on social media, whatever. And you keep on putting it out.
Yeah.
Who are you here for? It's not me, evidently. It's you're here for yourself. And so it's the same deal with films like this. I was telling the guys earlier that when it comes to movies like this, I've become such a snob. It's crazy. If I'm missing, get so much as a whiff that something is funny style in the aroma, I'm cool on it. I said from day one when they announced the movie, I'm probably not going to see this. I can know there's some nonsense going on. When I heard that they weren't even mentioning one of the inspirations of his songs, because Bob did get around, he was a bit of a Rolling Stone. When one of his side chicks, who's responsible as an inspiration for several of his well-known songs, was left out, I thought, okay, this is interesting. But when I found out that they had stripped the scenes, and I don't know if you guys knew, but they actually did some filming with an actor. They actually had somebody lined up to play Peter Tosh.
What?
So it's not that he was never a thought. They actually had a Peter Tosh. They had him.
That's
and
crazy.
Then the actor who played him, he actually, I think on Instagram, he dropped like a 3-minute long video saying that, the producers, whatever, they decided to go ahead and cut all his scenes and to basically wipe him out of the film.
Wow.
He apologized, like, I'm sorry, I really want to do right by you guys, support the film anyways, blah, blah, blah. And if you know, Peter Tosh basically, and I think it's not an exaggeration to say it, Peter Tosh basically was Bob Marley and the Wailers. He's, without him, you probably wouldn't know who Robert Nesta Marley was. The Wailers was his idea. He taught Bob how to play the guitar. He wrote most of the songs. So then later on, Chris Blackwell gets there and everything just takes off. But if you love everything about Bob Marley and the Wailers, then you really love, no shade to Bob, but you really love Peter Tosh. And you understand that a film about Bob Marley without Peter Tosh is blasphemy and is pointless. It's like, it would be like making a film about Batman and there's no Gotham City.
Real talk.
It's a film that takes place in Dallas, Texas. Well, there's Gotham City nowhere in Dallas. Where's Batman? Oh, there's no Batman in Dallas. We just have the Dallas Man. We have Dirk Nowitzki.
It's crazy.
That's not a Batman movie. Exactly.
It's hard.
So what they want to do, because Pete, like Ann mentioned, Peter Tosh was very revolutionary. He was a dark-skinned brother. He was very much about pushing back at the powers that be, whatever. He was that revolutionary force that gave that fire and that passion and that heaviness to the sound and to the message and the music of the Wailers. And so they don't want to go ahead and push that. They want to bastardize Pete like they like to do Dr. King and water him down to love and peace and can't we all just get along? And that's what they're trying to do with it.
Yeah.
And you can't do that with Peter Tosh. He ain't having it.
Real talk.
No. Yeah, you have people that are just, they will not sell themselves out for money. Peter Tosh was not that person. That's why in the film they said that Peter Tosh separated from Bob Marley when there was an attempt on Bob Marley's life and almost killed Bob Marley. And Bob Marley had to flee to London, to England. And they said that Peter Tosh wasn't going that way and he had parting ways away from Bob Marley. So they really wanted to play this. Like I said, this was an agenda piece. I don't care what anybody say. We can have this one-on-one dialogue. Y'all know where to reach us at. I will get on this thing and I will dialogue with you because I can show you receipts. And, you know, me being Jamaican and knowing the real history behind Jamaica and who's some of the keynote artists, Peter Tosh is a legendary artist that doesn't get the credit for it because he is an unapologetic person. And like Bobby was saying, when unapologetic people are out there, they don't want to show you that side of them. So they're either going to blanket them, submerge them, or they're going to use them and put an image of the opposite, the extreme opposite of that person, because they don't want the uprising. They don't want people to realize that, you know, enough is enough. You know, when you look at the song Get Up, Stand Up, from everybody pretty much knows that Peter Tosh had a hand in that song. You know, they even said that Bob wasn't really up on that type of level of putting out revolutionary music. That was the, like Bobby said, that was the Wailing side, Peter Tosh side. Bob Marley was more of loving everybody, loving women, all of that stuff there. That's Bob Marley's side of it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what this piece was about. This piece, when they show you the poster, they didn't show you Get Up, Stand Up. They didn't show you Crazy Bald Heads. Remember Crazy Bald Heads. If you're a Bob Marley fan, Crazy Bald Heads was something that was like revolutionary.
Yeah.
I'm gonna change these crazy bald heads out of town. Yo, that Buffalo Soldier, that was rumored to be about the Black American troops over here in the U.S.
It was.
That was fighting the war. You see what I'm saying?
Soldiers, yeah.
Exactly. So they don't. These are songs they don't play inside the movie. There's no Buffalo Soldier. There's no Crazy Bald Heads. There's no Get Up, Stand Up. None of that. You know what I'm saying? So it just goes to show you it was more of a trying to get everybody on this love triangle. And you remember, anytime that they do a movie, always look at what's going on in the world. Because like I stated earlier, that right now in America, we're going through political parties. Two political parties are crashing hard, the Democrats and the Republicans. This movie was centralized on the political party clash that was going on during the Bob Marley era. And they focused primarily on that era of timeline, specifically because they want you to see and put yourself as, hey, this is what's going on now. Take y'all back to the Bob Marley era, and that's where the one love come from. This is where everybody, you know, one love, one heart, let's get together and feel all right. Right? That's the whole Dr. King I Have a Dream speech, right? That's the anthem that they're trying to push. And when I saw that, and I was just like, yeah, this is an agenda piece, you know, and I saw what it was and what I realized what it was for. And just like we got the video of the mother that's there, there is several videos out there. There's even a white Jamaican man who's upset with the movie in itself and the authenticity of the movie, because he, as a white Jamaican, understood the culture and feel like that's disrespectful. So not even just Black Jamaicans are offended by this. You got white Jamaicans that's offended by this because they
everybody who knows got me, pretty much. If you know, you
people
know.
That know the truth, it's irritating to you. Like when you sit back and watch somebody lie and you know they lying, that's the most irritating thing to you, because you want to jump and choke this person or punch this person, you know, or just do something for them to stop lying. And that's what it feels like when you're watching the movie. You feel like, God damn, just tell the real shit. Like, we want to know the real side of Bob Marley, not this political agenda shit you pushing so everybody could be on. Because in the movie, they don't even show you about the children growing up. They don't show you about that. They just make this man seem like he's just a damn baby factory, because he leave one direction, come back, and all these children running to him, hey, daddy, daddy. And you got like 5, 6 damn children all over. And he doesn't even say the name of the children. It's only 2. He says Ziggy Marley, and then he says the name of one of the daughters. I can't remember which one, but that's the only 2 children he actually said the names out of their mouth. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't a picture or a movie to really depict the whole family. It was just a movie, like I said, to just paint an image, which was to get everybody on this love thing. And then it also pushes into an misandrous era of showing this man just, soiling his raw oats while this woman is sitting here basically comforting him and standing by his side. The loyalty of this black woman while you still out there stretching your loins and creating children outside of your marriage. You know what I'm saying? So I want people to understand that part of it. But like I say, the aesthetics of it is dope. The aesthetics of the movie, the landscape. I love how they made Jamaica real beautiful, even though they were in the gully, what we call gully, trench town, those type of rough areas. They still made it look beautiful, and that to me was pretty dope. And the music, of course, is always going to be dope because it's legendary. Well, outside of that, I see why a lot of people have issues and problems with it. So that's my take on that.
Real talk. I take your word for it, bro, because I made a conscious decision. I'm boycotting that shit. Once I saw the previews, even before the movie came out, I was like, oh God, boycotting it. I'll take your word for it. I'll probably hate watch it once it's free, but I'm just not giving up my dollars to that type of shit. I'm tired of them doing this. They do this time and again with our culture. And I'm just not gonna do it. I get why you went to go see it though. You gotta be informed, as to what the get down is.
Correct. So I went to see it because being that that's my roots, Jamaican side, that's my roots. Bob Marley. I grew up off of Bob Marley. Rest in peace to my cousin who passed away last year. He lived in England, and we used to communicate, and every time we used to always sing out different Bob Marley songs because he was a huge Bob Marley fan. When I talk about posters, smoking weed, everything, like to the T, he was a big Bob Marley fan, right? And I remember we was playing the Bob Marley record back in Jamaica because I was on vacation. He came down from England, I came from America, and we was at our granddad's house, and I remember we were playing the Bob Marley song, and our favorite song that we like in common was Concrete Jungle, right? And Concrete Jungle is one of the most powerful songs that you can listen to from Bob Marley. And this was a really, really good song. But it was like, oh gosh, I just had a brain freeze. So it's no sun around hold on. It was like, I can't remember the beginning of it, but I remember it was like, no chains around my feet, but I'm not free. Dun, 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 dun. I'm still bound here in captivity. So it was like he was talking about mental slavery, right? So he says, even though we don't have chains, we still slave in the mentality way. You know what I'm saying? We don't have physical chains on us, but we still enslaved mentally, man. And I thought that was super dope. It's one of the dopest songs, man, because it was the realness out of the hood. Like when he talked about Trenchtown and the gutters and all that, that song really was for the hood dudes. You know what I'm saying? Because it was talking about not having no light or none of that, you know what I'm saying? And still can't get out of it because we can't get out of our own mind. You know what I'm saying? We're just mentally slave to everything. So I think that it was so dope, man, during that era with my cousin. But overall, man, it was just a great time. But it was a very educational one. So I took it very personal, and that's why I wanted to see it because we are big Bob Marley fans. Anybody that's from the island, Bob Marley's on top of your list of pioneers and songwriters, you know what I'm saying? But we understood the Peter Tosches, we understood the Barris Hammonds, we understood, you know, you have Bounty Killer. These are artists that are real rugged and speak their mind. You know, the one that just got locked up and released, Buju Banton, you know what I'm saying? These are people that are heartfelt, that really speak for the people. So anything that goes down when it's filmed or anything that's related to them, you know, the people are gonna support it. You know what I'm saying? Because they are so much in tune with these people because they speak for us, you know what I'm saying, when it comes from the revolutionary side. So definitely Sizzler, another one, you know what I'm saying? So definitely, man.
I grew up on that shit too. It's real, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I say I was disappointed in a lot of fellow Jamaicans. A lot of Jamaicans are disappointed, but you know it is what it is. So I'll land my plane on that. All right. So we definitely want to give a shout out. I say moment to our brother who passed away recently. So shout out, I say to Eric Mays, you know, Flint councilman. He was found Saturday, deceased in his home. There's a lot of speculation people have, you know what I'm saying? They said it's kind of funny style, but they say he died of natural causes. He was I think he was 65, if I'm not mistaken. But he was a powerhouse. He was for the people. He really didn't take any crap, and he was not allowing people to come on that board and just railroad his people. He was the force. He would stand up for them, and he was that side that people really need in these seats. When you say you need somebody in the seats to represent you, Eric Mays was that man. He was that guy that did that. Even though they'll show you the comical side of him, but he was very passionate about his people outside of the cameras. You know what I'm saying? And he knew his shit. That's why they did not like him. A lot of the white people were on the panel. They were in these council seats, and they did not like him because he knew his shit, and he would antagonize them when they would mess with him. He was petty enough to antagonize them in a strategic way and in a very knowledgeable way, and they could not do nothing about it. So now that our king passed away, I feel very sorry for the people of Flint, Michigan, because I don't see anybody else on that panel that's going to ride for you, that's going to get stuff done and push back from these culture vultures that's coming in to be parasites and take over our community and push our Black people out. He was the force that made sure he roadblocked all of that shit. So, you know, we lost a very, very big pioneer today, for this last week, I should say, since Saturday, in Eric Mays. And I say, young king, I guess you're needed on the other side and do great work over there as well. All right. So I know you guys got something to say about Eric Mays, how he affected y'all.
Oh, definitely. I mean, you know, all politics is local, so you know, not so much here as there, obviously, you know, in Flint. But I mean, anybody who makes those type of contributions, you know, that is a contribution to the struggle at large. You know what I'm saying? And you inspire other people, and you know, you inspire others that may not have been doing anything to get up and do. He reminds me of Adam Clayton Powell, if I'm being 100 with it. You know what I'm saying? Like he really, really reminds me of Adam Clayton Powell. And you know, for those of you who don't know, that was the brother back in the civil rights days movement who was really pulling strings and got things done and got things through. Real titan of that movement, of that era. So he, in that way, you know, he kind of reminds me of him. And you know, that's it's always inspirational when we have the few writers that we do have, when they are highlighted, when they are spoken of. Yes, they get what they get done where they can get it done, but the larger picture is that they inspire others, and you know, they push the movement forward with their momentum, with their energy, and with their strength. So I say RIP to that brother.
Definitely.
Indeed.
All right. I did want to show some videos of this was a documentary called We Are Rising. Not sure if you guys seen it, but I did want to show some people, you know, when we talk about being unapologetic, people that go above and beyond to fight, to get shit done, not be passed over and accept anything, you know what I'm saying? And I thought this video would definitely add to today's show of the uprising and, you know, just getting shit done. All right.
About 1,000 students here at Howard University have sat in and held control of this administration building. There are no classes. The entire educational system is shut down.
Many of us will stay in the administration building and be arrested.
There will be boycotts until there is progress, and we are prepared to boycott until infinity.
It appears to me that the attitudes on the part of the students suggest that an explosion among them is imminent.
And the question here before us is like, who gonna control our education? Whether we're gonna let white folks control it or black people. And the students at Voorhees College are taking a position that black people gonna control our education.
You also start to see the police being more vile in their approach to interacting with students.
President Nixon has urged college officials to be firm in dealing with campus disorder. And that's what Dr. Potts was doing when he agreed to the use of the National Guard.
Black colleges were particularly vulnerable to police invasion because white politicians were quick to call in the police and quick to look the other way when police used deadly force.
When the bullets were hitting the walls, I was on the floor, and there were a lot of people on top of me. And I don't know what was happening. All I know, I could just hear the pounding against the windows and glass popping everywhere.
This kind of atmosphere of policing and of crackdown.
All right, let me show the other one real quick.
I'm gonna do what the Spirit says do. I'm gonna do what the Spirit says do. And what the Spirit says do, I'm gonna do. Oh Lord, I'm gonna do what the Spirit says do.
Richard's department store was a big kahuna. They had stores all over the South. Dick Rich, who was the president of Richard's at the time, he told me that if I brought my black ass back into his store again, he was going to put me in jail. And I told him that I'm coming back, Mr. Richard, and I'm bringing thousands with me, and get your jails ready because we're going to be there.
We synchronized watches and said at 11:15, everyone was to enter wherever they were assigned to. It meant that they had to deal with all of us at the same time.
We were able to cost Richard's department store in 1960 over the Christmas holidays $10 million in losses. All of a sudden, they wanted to talk. And within 6 weeks, they had signed an agreement to desegregate all that stuff downtown.
I'm gonna do what the Spirit says do. Well, I'm gonna do what the Spirit says do. And what the Spirit says do, I'm gonna do.
When I was finally served at that counter, I thought it was by far one of the lousiest meals I ever had. And I asked myself the question, is this what I put my life on the line for? But remember, it wasn't about the food.
I love that. He said after they got shit done, he was like, finally got to sit down and eat some food. He was like, this shit lousy. But the thing was, he said, I didn't do it for the food. I did it just so that people that look like me could sit down without being harassed or denied. Right. And I thought that was super dope in that clip because they strategically set up in different areas and was like, yo, when 11:15 hit, y'all gonna bum rush here. And they bum rushed everywhere at 11:15 precisely, filled up all these segregated places with black people in it, black students at that. And that promoted the people to say, hold up. Once they start strategically doing it around Christmas time and the holiday time, they lost equivalent to today's earnings, which was $10 million.
Beautiful.
When white folks lose money, ears open up.
Things change when they start.
Ears open up.
Yeah.
They respond to red and they respond to green.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Real talk.
I just wanted to point that out.
Bruh, let me tell you. Shout out to the ancestors. Shout out to all our brothers and sisters. I'm so proud of them, you know, for strategizing and making these things happen so that we could have the many comforts that we have today. Because, you know, a lot of these little coons like to run around talk about how I am not my ancestors. Like that's something cute to say. And I always retort to the little coon as, no, you're not your ancestors, because your coward ass wouldn't have done none of that. You understand what I'm saying? If we keep it in a buck, anybody who can fix their mouth to say something that ignorant, yeah, you're right. You not your ancestors, but not for the reasons you're citing.
Exactly.
Because your weak, cowardly ass would not have sat up in no place and did no sit-ins, would not have picketed nothing. You can't even stay disciplined enough to keep from boycotting Gucci and Prada and what's the other
H&M.
H&M. All these
Chanel,
companies,
Balenciaga.
Yeah, all these companies who've done racist things.
Take your pick.
Take your pick. All this overpriced bullshit. You paying all this ridiculous money just to put a white person's name on your ass. You understand what I'm saying? And you don't even have, not even the courage at this point. You don't even have the discipline to refrain from buying their products when they've said racist things about you and they've performed racist acts towards you. You understand? The little Prada monkey. I ain't forgot about the little Prada monkey. I ain't forgot about the little black kid they had in the H&M commercial. Coolest monkey in the jungle. I ain't forgot about that slick shit. I ain't set foot in H&M in what 6-7 years since that article came out.
Same.
You understand?
And what about sacrifice? For me, that was a sacrifice because up until that point, H&M had arguably been my favorite store on the planet. I'm talking about north of 60% of the items in my closet were from H&M. So I was vested. And as soon as I saw that, it wasn't a whole bunch of oh man or what was me. It's like someone flicked the light switch off. Bam. They don't exist no more. I walk by the store. I don't even look to see what they got in there this week and nothing. Just you don't exist to me anymore. Because my dignity and my self-worth, my race esteem is way higher than a damn H&M logo on my clothing.
Real talk. Real talk. And the thing is, for me, it wasn't because I didn't really buy that shit anyway. But I feel you. I have an extra layer of respect for what you did because you shopped there. You know what I'm saying? And like you cut them off cold turkey. Back in the days, we used to have that spirit.
Yeah.
Oh, you got a problem? You got a problem with black people? All right.
Yeah.
All right. Your business be out of your shit be out of business in 6 months. Your company will be out of business in 6 months. You feel me?
That's the code of conduct.
The code of conduct, and we have lost that. We have no discipline. We have no integrity. You know, we just kind of accept anything. You know, all these little movies. To go back to the movie you were talking about earlier. That's not the only movie that has depicted a group, a black group's culturally significant figure in a messed up light. Yeah. But we still keep going to the movies to support this stuff, to support this garbage. You know, we need to really, really withhold our dollars and put them somewhere else until they get it right. You know, we gotta start sending those signals. We gotta get our code of conduct together, man, because we let too much go. That's real on everything. We let way too much go. It's no reason, you know, that we should be out here still supporting these people, and they spit in our face every chance they get.
None.
Exactly. Even my code of conduct. This is
It is. It is.
You guys can see, right?
Black
California
owned.
line, black owned watch. I
Black
don't fuck with anything that's, you know, if I'm gonna rock it, it gotta be black owned. You know what I'm saying? This is, you'll catch me with Kangos. I got 3 or 4 different Kangos on. This is black, yo. This is crazy. You know what I'm
I didn't know
saying?
that was black owned. That's black owned.
Well, I don't know if it's black. I don't know if it was.
I know
black
historically, you know, hip hop
I know
guys, especially. Yeah.
Yeah, I know historically from a black cultural thing that I rock. That I have fedora hats that's made from black.
Yeah, I've
My
seen you
fedora
around
hats are made from some of the black people. There's a black guy that I follow that makes some of these fedora hats and different stuff on it.
No doubt.
That I have up there. Even I have hats from my homeboy. He makes hats. Shout out to Achilles. We had promoted him before. Achilles.
Yeah, I know that dude. Yeah.
Yeah, so he, you know, shout out to Randy for doing his thing. I have hats, Savage. He has hats that say Savage on it. I have a couple of those over there. You know, it's just things that is basically black owned. I try my hardest to purchase, you know what I'm saying? And if it's not black owned, then culturally, like the Kango, you know what I'm saying? That represents the blackness behind it, you know? But anything that I feel like that I can get my hands on that can replace something that comes from the dominant society, I'm all for it. I'm all in it. You know what I'm saying? So,
And like our brother David Banner always says, if I had you, I wouldn't need them. He's very, very, very profound and very upfront with it. If I had you, I wouldn't need them. And that's real. Black people as a group generate enough income to have an entirely self-sustained community. Period. We generate, I think it's in the trillions, but there are countries that don't generate what Black Americans generate in revenue.
Correct.
And we just don't. We need to redirect the focus of where we put our dollars.
And mind you, that's off of disposable spending. It's not like we're talking about essentials like groceries and, you know, we're talking about the side spending.
The side spending. We just spend like crazy, bruh. And like we could do so much if we had the proper mindset, which is the purpose of Manifestations 2020. So let's keep banging. Yeah.
Correct. I do want to shift off into our another segment, which is Dear Men.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So I got this question today. And you guys can definitely send, you know, if you guys follow us on social media, all social media platforms on Manifestations 2020. I think there's MG. You got MG Manifestations 2020. That's Major's page. If you guys run across any of those pages, inbox us any questions you guys want or whatever. We'll definitely put it on air. You'll remain anonymous. We don't put the person's name out there. We just do the questions and give you guys the most honest answer possible. All right.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I got an inbox question today, and it says, because I was posting about the movie May Culpa, right, which is the Tyler Perry movie with Kelly Rowland in it, right? So I made a couple of posts that was, you know, basically making fun of the movie in different ways. So one of I guess one of my posts, she end up coming into my inbox and asked me this question. She says, in regards to your post about the movie, right? Asking for a friend. What do you do when your son-in-law's side piece inboxes you on Facebook with receipts of a 5-year relationship she's been involved in with him? Do you tell your daughter? Are you supposed to ignore how he's treating your daughter, your only child? As a mother-in-law, are you supposed to continue to love and respect him? And just to let you know, his mother is deceased. So I wanted to present that to you because she's the mother-in-law. He's dating her daughter. And she got the inbox from the side piece about 5 years dealing with this guy.
Oh,
It's
I mean,
too much.
That's an easy one for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You absolutely let your daughter know what time it is. Absolutely. Now, what she chooses to do with that is on her. You understand what I'm saying? But that's your daughter. You understand what I'm saying? And you know, your daughter could be in a very dangerous situation. You know, never know what type of STDs or whatever he might contract from this other young lady, whatever the case may be. You never know if she's going to flip her lid and decide, hey, I want him. If I can't have him, nobody can. She might, you know, want to get violent with this young lady. You know, these situations, I don't play with stuff like that. You know, if it's somebody that I love dearly, somebody that's close to me, I'm sorry, I'm a snitch, period. You know what I'm saying? That's easy for me. She shouldn't even have to ask. You know what I'm saying? That's your daughter. All bets are off, you know, and let the chips fall where they may. That's how I feel about it. Bobby?
Look, it's a mess. It's nasty. If this was non-family, I'd say tread cautiously. But seeing as, you know, this is your child that's being put out, dirt is dirt. All right. The fact of the matter is, what's done in the darkness is going to come to the light, one way or the other.
Yeah.
So of course, a question to ask would probably be, well, why, if you've been in a relationship with him for 5 years, why is this coming out now? Doesn't matter. The point is, this is coming out now.
Yeah.
And the way it's coming out in such a manner where you are giving your daughter a chance to be able to go ahead and to quietly make preparation to get out on the sneak. Like Aunt mentioned, you know, sometimes these things can turn very sour. People aren't always wired properly. He might be a dude where he just plays it cool, like, man, whatever, bye. Didn't care about you no ways. Or he might spaz out and y'all end up on the news and some craziness. So I would definitely, you know, save all the information, put baby girl up on game, put her in the driver's seat. The one thing I will say, though, and this is almost universal for me, I know as a parent it's probably difficult to do, but at the same time, you have to understand that no matter how you might feel about the situation, you are not the person that's in the situation. Now, when I talk to people about relationship issues they having with their significant other, primarily the women, when they talk about, oh, you know, this is what's going on here, what's going on, I make it a point to never tell them to leave the person that they're with. I don't do that. All I will do is I will frame the situation as I see it. I will give some game and some insight. I'll present and lay out some options. I will never tell them you need to leave him. And I always tell them the same thing. I'm not going to tell you to leave him because if y'all break up tonight, you can't come stay with me.
Right.
I'm sorry. You know, there's no space in my bed for you. We will not be getting cozy up tomorrow. I ain't got no place. I ain't got no way for you to be booted up with tomorrow. So because I'm not volunteering to step in that position, I can't tell you to leave. I can't tell you to get about that. I can just frame it the way it is, the way I see it. Give you some options. And God bless you. You pick the best decision. You make the best decision that you can. Same goes for the mother. Because what you do not want to, because you have to understand how some people are, you do not want to go ahead and put a batter in her back. You need to leave him. He's cheating on you. This, that, and the third. And in the moment she's like, you're right. Sick and tired of this. The next thing you know, you talk to the next day. Well, is it over? Now all of a sudden, shut up, Mom. I hate you. You're always trying to get in between me. Then you become the bad guy. Now, next thing you know, you become the villain. She and hubby, they had the little fussing and fighting. He done said he done put the magic key code in her back. They had some amazing bed shaking, sheet clapping going on. Now all of a sudden it's like the honeymoon. They deeper in love than ever, and they're convinced that you're the bad guy. So basically, their relationship was falling apart. They used your ass as the mortar to go ahead and help renovate the house. Now you're the bad guy. And to make matters worse, now because of that situation, you've lost your ability to have any sort of insight or be that connection with her. So present her with the information. Matter of fact, I would say don't even give it to her directly. I would say go the same way how I would slid to you. Find a way to sneak her the information.
That may be
not on the source. So now she can't pin this on anybody. She can say someone's hating all they want to, but if the receipts are there, if that math starts mathing, she got to start making some decisions on her own. She ain't got no one to point a finger at.
Right.
I would say do it like that, and just be there for her to support her whatever she decides.
Yeah.
But again, do not tell her to leave her man. Don't do it.
Agreed. Give her the intel. Let her move how she want. You know what I'm
all
saying?
you do is give people the game and let them make the moves the best way they can.
Yeah. I feel the same way. I'm not I never tell people to leave. That's one thing I do not do. As much as I get these type of inboxes and advice, one thing I always say is do what you feel is best for you. I can't tell you what's best for you. If staying is best for you, then so be it. If leaving is best for you, then so be it. Do what's best for you, because once you make that decision, you can now pride yourself on that decision.
Right.
If I tell you to do something and God forbid it works out horribly, then you'll come at me and be like, oh, I listened to what you were saying and
this would have never happened if you didn't.
Yes. I don't want none of that.
Right.
I'll come to you, I'll assess it with you, and I say, how do you feel about the situation? What does your gut tell you to do? I say, think about it, take the next couple of days, think about it, think about your escape strategies if you're going to escape, think about if you're going to stay, think about how you can rectify or come over that situation, put this stuff in plan so that way you can have a healthy way either way you go, whether you stay or you don't. But I would never tell somebody to go ahead and, not be with that person or be with that person. You have to do what's inside your gut feeling and stand on it. When they talk about stand on business, stand on your decision, because you made that decision, run with it. You know what I'm saying? And as a mother, it's I think it's a slippery slope on the situation, because a lot of times mothers always telling their daughters or their sons, most of the time, oh, I don't like this person for you. I think this person is bad for you. So I don't know if she was that mother that said that. That's probably why she's coming and asking for advice. Maybe she was probably always doubting dude from the get-go. And maybe if she present this, the daughter might be like, oh, you just hated him from the get-go. And who's to say this girl is telling the truth, even though the evidence is there? It's just that the denial goes into the head, because they just want to prove you that they don't want to do the decisions that you're constantly telling them to do. And they're going to go against the grain, even if the situation is bad for them, because they have a rift with a parent and daughter relationship over the years. it's like, I'm not going to let you win this one. So I'll stay in this and I'll stay concrete in this. And we're going to just work this out, even though deep down, when you leave from your mother and you go in that room, you're crying, you're breaking down. You're like, fuck, why did this have to happen? You know, you admit behind closed doors that, you know, this is a situation you shouldn't be in, where you'll never do that in front of your mother because, like I say, there's always this
You don't want to give
mother-child
her one.
dynamic in it that you don't want to give in the control, because you, especially if you feel like you're a grown woman now, you feel like your mother still has control because she might be right. And that leads right into her saying, I told you so. And women don't like that I told you so moment. As men, we get in those I told you so moments. That's accountability for a lot of women. When men say I told you so, and they like grinding their teeth like, oh gosh, I gotta eat that. You know what I'm saying?
Let's keep it a buck though.
Yeah.
You know, if her daughter is mature, she's going to accept the truth for being the truth.
Correct.
You understand what I'm saying?
Correct.
And that's what it is, you know.
Correct.
Men, like you said, we have to deal with accountability. Nobody's going to coddle us, you know, and make us think that everything's going to be okay when we know that we got some real shit going on. Correct. It's not the same for us. You know, we got to face reality. And, you know, for women, it should be the same, you know. And I personally have found that women who deal with accountability well are much better women, and they have much easier lives. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, look, let's say she just goes ahead and ignores it, and she just keeps on pushing. You know what I'm saying? What's going to happen next? Is he going to knock this chick up? Is he going to bring home some shit? Like, you feel me? You gotta think about those type of things. And the question of hate or jealousy shouldn't even come up. You know, in a perfect world, right? I don't know what kind of relationship they have, mother-daughter. And I have seen some mother-daughter relationships that are very toxic, where either the mother or the daughter are jealous. You know what I'm saying? But let's cast that to the side. You know, let's just say they have a perfectly fine mother-daughter relationship. I would think that the mother, primarily before anything else, one that, you know, speaks to the daughter about this, will look at it as a way to protect her daughter. And when the mother presents that information, I would hope that the daughter would look at it as, hey, this is my mother trying to protect me. Let me take this seriously. That would be my, you know what I mean?
And that's why I say the slippery slope, because it's more on the daughter's side, because like from the mother's perspective, you know, you could take it. Your daughter takes the information and be like, yo, mom, thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah. Or she could be like, you know, oh, fuck that shit. You never wanted us. You probably typed this shit up yourself and, you know, trying to get me out of the situation. So that's why I say it's a slippery slope based on how the daughter takes it. You know what I'm saying? But you're right. I mean, for me, if I was in this situation, I would definitely tell the daughter, my daughter, what the situation is, because if I don't, the conscience comes to me. Because guess what? Like you guys said, if this becomes a situation of domestic, what do they call that? Domestic suicide, and I don't say nothing, when that happens, now I have this on the conscience, because now every night that my daughter's not here, I'm reading these receipts and I'm saying to myself, what if I told my daughter, maybe she would be here today? And that's something on your conscience you don't want to have for the rest of your life.
What if it's heavy?
Right.
What if
you
it's
mean
heavy?
like domestic double homicide? That type of thing.
Yes, correct.
Or even just regular domestic violence. Just, you know, just starts beating around or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. And that's why I said I was using the domestic homicide, because, you know, even if it's domestic violence and you do get beat up pretty bad, you still have your daughter here. So the consciousness of that wouldn't hit you as hard as if your daughter was to be killed in the process, and then you're sitting on this information you should have told your daughter, gave her the heads up, because once you get information like that, no matter who you are, man or woman, your antennas are up.
Yeah.
So now when you're out, you're going out the door, you're watching around to see if this girl gonna come and try to stab me. Oh God.
Of course.
You're inside the store looking to see if you see this woman. You're also looking to see how your dude moving, how funny style he is, because he might want to get rid of you to be with the girl. So you're strategically putting yourself with your antennas up, trying to probably move your way out of the situation in a way that is very healthy and more protective for yourself longevity wise.
Real
you know what I'm
talk.
saying? So definitely, that would be my option would be to tell my daughter what's going on, and how she takes it from there is how she takes it from there. My conscience is clear. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? And I land my plane on that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, she'll get the clip. If she isn't watching now, she'll get the clip. I'll send her the clip. And then she could take the advice that all three of us, and that's the dope thing. And that's why we tell you guys to send in your questions all the time, because you're getting three different aspects. And it's something I might say that might not hit with you, but Major says, and it hits on point. Or it might be something Bobby says that both of us didn't put into play that might, help you out. So you're getting three different knowledgeable men that's giving you different perspectives, so you can have the best outlook or the best strategy on dealing with the situation that you're in. So definitely. All right. I do want to go to the next one, which is the question of the day. And the question of the day is really, I saw this meme and I said, you know what? What about women that date nowadays? Because I saw another post that went crazy. It was about how if you're not making 100K, you're a broke dude. So where all the 100K dudes at? All the 100K dudes come to the post. You know what I'm saying? And oh man, it just went crazy left, because a lot of guys got offended on that. So I wanted to say, so back in the days, our elders always had, they had grace from their women. When they went out there and dated, the woman understood who they were, knew what they were capable of achieving, and sometimes they knew that they needed an extra lift or extra push. So I saw this meme with Denzel Washington, and it says Denzel Washington's wife paid for the cab on their first date because he was broke. The couple today is worth 290 million and has been married for 38 years. Wow. So I'm thinking, to this day, do our young children have the same grace and opportunity today, or are they living in a shit show and they will never get the opportunity to link up with somebody and establish greatness like Denzel and his wife?
Well, for me, it's real easy. Oh, go ahead, Bob. You go. You was gonna say?
Now I was gonna say, the problem as where this pertains to with the young women. The issue is we're living, and I heard this said a long time ago about something else, but it fits perfectly with this now. Mm-hmm. Due to the nature, and these are issues that we had before social media even popped up, because we've been talking about how with all the advancement of technology and everything else, we live in this microwave society where, things coming today don't come quickly enough. And I remember the comedian Louis C.K., he did, I forgot from which stand-up specials was, but he did this joke where he was talking about everything's amazing now and no one's happy. He was talking about how, he remembers he got on an airplane and it was the first time he was on an airplane that had built-in Wi-Fi, whatever. So he was really excited about be able to use his phone or his computer over there, whatever. He said just before takeoff, the flight attendant came on and said that they were, they make announcements, and then they said, "No, we regret to inform our passengers that our in-flight Wi-Fi is going to be out of commission for this flight. We're terribly sorry about that," or whatever. He's like, and he said, this time, this was brand new. This is relatively recent thing. So Most people had never been in a plane where this was a thing. So the guy next to him was like, "Oh, fuck this," you know. Dude was just upset, and he's like, "How amazing is it that this thing that before now you didn't know was a thing, the non-existence of it now has made you that upset?"
Yeah,
you just found out this was a thing, whatever. And once you find out that you can't experience it now, you're acting as if this was always there and that this was just a regular utility, whatever. But pairing off that, the idea is that this generation knows the cost of everything. They know the price of everything, but the value of nothing. They can eyeball the price of this. That's how much this is worth. That's how much that costs. That you can get this here for such a price. But the actual value of things and people, they're clueless on.
Yeah.
You have two options when it comes to getting in with somebody. Specifically talking about men here. When a man who is on his way to becoming peak value, that means he's putting in the work, he's mastering his craft or his discipline, whatever it is. He's on his way to not just earning big money, but being a man of status and having something.
Yeah.
You can get with him at any time, but the longer you wait, the higher that cost of entry is going to be. It's no different from a party or a club, right? There's a party that's coming. Oh, there's going to be this big new hip hop reggae night at the end of the month, right? You got a whole month of notice. You buy the early bird ticket now, costs $35. After the first week or two, the early bird tickets start flying on the shelf. Those are gone now. Then you get the late coming tickets. Those are $55. So you buy these now, it's still gonna be cheaper than what you're gonna pay at the door for it. Then you finally get to the door, it's $85 to get in. Well, that's crazy. These tickets were for sale for $35. Yeah, but that was early in the game. You see, a lot of women are trying to go ahead and do this and jumpstart the process because they do not know how to properly vet a man. They do not know how to tell a stud from a dud. A champion from a chump.
Yeah.
They don't know how to tell this is someone that's worth betting the farm on, that they can relatively cash in their chips on, and they're going to have a reasonable expectation of results.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to cheat the game by saying, well, I don't want to invest in a man. I want to wait till he's already self-made, till he's already there. Okay, cool. Problem is, like Drake said, you wasn't with him shooting in the gym.
It is.
So the cost is going to be different.
I don't know you.
And again, that's not that you can't get in. You can still get in. It happens all the time. It happens every day. However, there's going to be some things that come with that you're likely not going to be too keen on. Now, if you were the woman that, like Denzel Washington, you were there, you paid for the cab, the paper wasn't tight, or like a Barack Obama, starving law student, or a number of different examples, and you pay him in, a decent man is never going to forget the people who was there with him when the future wasn't certain, when it wasn't a guarantee. However, when you start coming later on in life, it becomes halt to goes though. What are you actually here for? You remember the movie Deliverance from Evil, where you had LL Cool J, and he was that wealthy dude, but because he was afraid that women would only be interested in him for his wealth and resources, he started pretending like he was a garbage truck driver, and so that was this whole thing. But that's real. And because women today are savage, they're cut-throat. You look at the way women move today, well over 80% of the divorces filed are by women. The divorce rate itself has been over 50% for a while. So pretty much in most cases, women are the ones that are hitting the detonate button in relationships. And contrary to what a lot of women are trying to argue, no, women are not fleeing relationships in droves because men are abusive or they're cheaters or they're blowing. That's not, do they exist? Absolutely. And we know that financial issues are one of the chief cause for divorce. That's been the case for a while. But the idea that every man is mismanaging funds, every man is out here cheating, every man is being abusive, bullshit. And you know, you should be ashamed of yourself to open your mouth and say that nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So a lot of men, period, without resources are looking sideways at marriage and commitment because they see women as not being serious about relationships. So when you start coming and doing that kind of talk, automatically puts a bullseye in your back. He knows that he can't really be at ease with you. The woman, however, who was there from jump, different story. She believed in him, she invested in him, she supported him, and now that he's on top, it's her turn to reap the fruit of her investment.
Yeah.
So, ladies, you can go ahead and do that. You can wait till the finished product has arrived. However, you're going to have to pay full price.
Yes.
You are going to have to accept that you're going to not be seen the same way you would if you're the woman that was there from entry level.
Correct.
You're going to have to accept that now that he's reached a certain level in life, he's able to move at a different level. That's going to come from some things. Maybe he's reached the point. Maybe he feels, no one was checking for me when I didn't have nothing. Maybe I'm at a point where I've deserved to have an extra woman on the side if that's what I want.
Real talk.
And you might be indignant about it, but please believe there's some woman that's going to be plenty happy to sidestep you, push you to the side, and get in where she can fit in.
What? Plenty.
And you can keep your addictions to the side. I'm not saying you should settle being a side chick, but again, we're talking about because when a man works hard, especially a black man, ain't nobody giving us anything out here. There's no easy layups or no charity stripe shots that we get. What we get, we have to sweat for.
Real talk. Yeah.
So when you work that hard to have the best of life, you're not keen on settling.
Yeah.
You don't work that hard just to go ahead and get bare minimum. That's crazy. So again, you got some choice to make. You can wait till the finished product's there and you pay a higher cost of admission, or you can learn how to do some proper vetting and find a man who is not quite there yet, but on his way. Find out how you can be a pivotal part of his success. So when he arrives, he understands that you're the cornerstone and he wouldn't be there without you. And as a result, you get all the perks that come along with your advancement. I'm going to land my ATV right there. I got to refuel.
Well said. Well said. And let me just make it real simple. You know what I'm saying? We had to really start looking at some of the low energy people that whine and complain about petty nonsense on posts on the internet. Half of them are just doing it for attention, because half of these females talking all this, I don't do 50-50, and I ain't paying for this, I ain't paying for that. They're paying a dude to be with their ass, if we keep it in a buck. I know some personally.
Big time paymasters.
I know some of them personally. They're literally paying for love. They buy love every goddamn 2 weeks. You understand what I'm saying? So miss me with the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Spare me. You got a lot of females out here that straight up paymasters that talk a whole bunch of shit to you on a post, but in real life, they out here, they the most desperate somebody you want to know. You know what I'm saying? So we got to realize when we come across those people, they're frauds. I did a whole post calling out all frauds. You understand what I'm saying? We got a lot of those out here. And, something as petty as cab fare is pretty basic. You know what I'm saying? And women if a woman is really interested in you and she's really looking to invest in you and she sees something in you, she's not going to bitch and moan over something as petty as cab fare. If we keep it in the buck, if she's worth anything, she's not going to whine about that. You understand? And those type of women are the type of women that you should take more seriously. Your question, Anthony, where you asked, when you asked, okay, does this mean that, hey, these women, of this time are going to give more grace, or is it, they're just going to be hardcore like that? The answer is some of them will, some of them won't. And that's where vetting comes in. because fellas, when you start to see these chicks, you know, counting this and counting that, counting how much you do versus how much they do, that's a low energy chick you don't need to be bothered with. Send her ass on her way. You understand? That's what you need to do with her. You know, and sisters who are more than happy to help out, because the Bible says, people like to cite the Bible when they're talking about provision and protection. Okay. The Bible also says, people like to pick and choose what they like out of the Bible. The Bible also says that the woman is a man's what?
Helpmate.
Help meet. So you're supposed to contribute. Damn it. You're supposed to contribute. Okay. And that's just what it is. That's how that works. It doesn't mean that I'm supposed to do everything. What book are you reading? Reading comprehension is taught in the 2nd grade. Your ass clearly didn't pass. You dig? Because you're not interpreting what it actually says. You're just picking out something and running with it because it tells you you can lay on your lazy ass. And that just ain't how we doing it. You understand what I'm saying? No. We're supposed to work together. We're supposed to complement each other. You're supposed to help. Yes. And that's just the long and short of it. That's the end of the story right there. So if you got people giving you all kind of flack and whatever over petty little things, that's something you don't need to be, that's somebody you don't need to be worried about. And that's another reason why we do this show. Lancelot Russell, what's up? That's another reason why we do this show, to give y'all game and to let y'all know the things to look out for and the things to, you know, embrace, you know, and that's at the top of the list, you know, just even before we get into all the other stuff. When you see that, that's a red flag. You know, we really got to stop that. And a lot of these little petty, goofy ass questions are about money issues. You know, at the end of that meme, I think it said, where all the fellas that make $100,000 at or whatever. You got to understand, you know, when these chicks put up these posts that are trick betting niggas, you know, they're trick betting you. You understand what I'm saying? They want to see which one of y'all is a trick and who's going to pop up in the inbox trying to pay some bills. And, you know, you don't need to be trying to do that, brothers. You know, you work hard for your money. You work hard for whatever you earn, your accolades, whatever. You should invest those things in a woman who's worthy and stop playing in the trash. And I'll land my plane.
Definitely. To me personally, I just feel like, you know, whenever a guy runs across that type of woman, I think you dodge the bullet publicly.
Yeah.
You know, you already know you're going to go through heartache and pain. And a lot of women, when times get hard, and times will get hard, even if you have money now, and I see a lot of guys, man, a lot of you guys get on this social media and want to pander or co-sign a lot of these women. And you might be up top today, but best believe you might fall down one day. And the same way you talking is the same way that they're going to treat you. So now you're going to be on the opposite end of it that you were before. So you're riding with them because you're on this side. And then when you fall off, you're going to be on the other side. You're going to be the same type of guy that they're talking about, you know, and you don't gain nothing out of it. You know, when you really look at it, it's just an extended of slavery, to be honest. If you're with somebody and they only like you for your monetary value, they don't even look at the things you bring to the table, only money, and that's all you bring, that's slavery. That's no different than a car payment you got to pay, because you got to make sure you come up with that car payment every day. They don't care if you're homeless. They don't care if you lost your job. You got to make sure you make that payment. And the minute you miss that payment, they don't care that you paid 26 months on time. That 27 going into 28, 29 month you couldn't pay, they come and get that car. That's
you were literally only as funky as your last cut.
Exactly. And those are the type of women that instead of coming to pick that car up, those are the type of women that's shopping at the dealership for another car. So while you over here struggling and be in that car that's being mobilized to take her here and take her there and doing everything, running errands in your car. She's out there on the dealership looking for somebody else's car. And once that car looks good, the engine and the aesthetics and the interior and the outside looks greener than the other side, hey, she's gone. And all that money you invested in her, thinking that you're building with her, is out the door. And now you have to start back from scratch again. So I think it is very important for you to understand the type of woman that you need in your system and line up with them. All these women out here that are saying what is just asinine and delusional, take that as an opportunity to be an easy way to weave out and vet. Just like Major said, you're vetting. This is just an easy way to vet. Hey, like Ludacris, get out the way, Hope. Get out the way. Move. I'm trying to get to the girl I need to get to, right? So this is your way of getting to the girl that you need to get to. That's why I don't even argue with those type of posts. I scroll by. I even made a post the other day that said, it's just certain foolishness that I don't entertain no more. I don't entertain that. If that's what you feel, good. Fellas, y'all see that? Walk away from it. I'm glad that I'm out of the game. I'm not even in the game. You know what I'm saying? So, but I still want to have compassion for the fellas that are in the game. It should be fair for them. And if it's not fair, I'm going to be on here with my fellas on here showing you how to maneuver through all the bull crap and get that prize winning woman once you get her lined up with and put her on your team, and then both of you guys be a power couple. So understanding that realms of it will definitely lead you to a prosperity and more of a healthy form of relationship, and a joyous one, especially if you're married, and not feel like you're in a cell type of relationship. All right.
Real talk.
So definitely that. Yeah. So I definitely want to get into the next thing, which is going to our topic of the day, which I just want to run through these real quick before we get into our queen check for the night. So our topic is, uprising the Black folks and the ass kicking that comes along with it. And this is throughout history. A lot of stuff, a lot of people don't know. So tonight, we might show you some things that you didn't know, that your ancestors was out here whooping ass and not taking any names with it. You feel me? So we'll start off with the New York City slave uprising in 1712. Between 25 and 50 blacks at midnight in New York City on April 6, 1712, with guns, swords, and knives in hand. The slaves first set fire to an outhouse and then fired shots at several white slave owners who had raced to the scene to fight the fire. By the end of the night, 9 whites were killed, 6 whites were injured. The next day, the governor of New York ordered the New York and Westchester militias to drive to the island, with the exception of 6 rebels who committed suicide before they got apprehended. All of the rebels were captured and punished with range from being burned alive to being broken at the wheel. But a swift punishment of the guilty was not enough to quell the concerns of the slave owners and their politically bloody. Within months, the New York Assembly passed an act of preventing, suppressing, and punishing the conspiracy or the insurgent of Negroes and other slaves. Masters were permitted to punish their slaves at their full discretion, not extending to the life of the members, even though in New York, slaves were deterred by this bill. Masters were required to pay £200 security to the government and 25 immunity to the freed slaves. Despite these strangles of laws, New York would escape slave rebellion for only 29 years. But shout out to those slaves that sacrificed their lives on the line to make sure, like, hey, enough is enough, man. We're not putting up with this. And even though they got it done for a short period of time, that was just enough. They saved a lot of lives during that short period of time by their courageous act of, pushing back against the injustice during that time. So shout out to those rebels that were out there, even though it was a suicidal mission, but they did it for their people, they did it for the culture. And a lot of your descendants that's living today definitely want to thank those guys, because without them, you probably would still be born in slavery today. All right. The next one is the New York Slave Conspiracy. And that is the New York Slave Conspiracy happened in 1741. It was an extraordinary, complex story. Some historians have dismissed the idea that slaves actually conspired to overthrow the chattel bondage and gain their freedom, while others have argued that the events in New York were a part of a rebellion of the Atlantic, where what is clear about the incident is that the example of abuse, power, and misuse of law and the community values by these white colonists. All right. So critics from New England accused the New Yorkers of imagining the plot, and they did not hesitate to point out the similarities between the events of April 1741 and the Salem, Massachusetts witch trials of 1692. In fact, the Nation of the Confessions closely resembled the Confessions of Salem. During the integration, slaves were beaten, harassed, and heckled by whites. The tactics probably contributed to the confession of 81 blacks. After the confession, the executions, the New York Assembly expanded the night watch past the restrictions of the slaves fetching water, but the Nair pump and decided to import the slaves no longer from the Caribbean, which had previously supplied New York with nearly 3,400 slave population, but from Africa instead, because the colonists believed that African slaves were less likely to organize than the slaves from the Caribbean. And that says a lot to this day, because we're seeing a lot of the African brothers out here coming and samboing and shoo-shooing and jumping up with white supremacy. And those be the main ones saying that they don't see racism. So to hear that back in 1741, that is alarming. And we're 200 plus years later, and they still have that same mentality. All right.
Yeah.
So definitely want to get into the Tacky War, which is the Tacky's War, which end up also known as the Tacky Rebellion, was an uprising among Jamaican enslaved people from Ghana that occurred in St. Mary Parish, Jamaica, against the British from 1760 to 1761. Other ethnic groups from Ghana include Fanti, Ashanti, that took part in the rebellion. The rebellion was led by Tacky, who was from the Fanti ethnic group. The war was one of the most significant slave rebellions in the Caribbean during the 1800s, before the Haitian Revolution, which began 3 decades later. The goal of the rebellion was to take control of the British island colony and create a separate Black independent nation. The rebels were inspired by the first Maroon War that also occurred in Jamaica from 1728 to 1740. That rebellion was led by Queen Nanny, the legendary Queen Nanny of the Maroons. They did not know the success of the Maroons in that early conflict would eventually help bring about the downfall of their rebellion. So shout out to Tacky and the Maroons for definitely doing what they needed to do. Despite Tacky's death and the failure of the rebellion, the insurrection continued in Jamaica until slavery was officially ended in British government in 1834. The cost of these continuing rebellions was a major factor in British government outlawing slavery throughout the empire. And that goes back to the saying again, when whites lose money, ears start to listen, minds start to thinking like, hey, this ain't really worth it, So definitely shout out to Tacky and the Maroons for getting that done. Even though that came to an end at that time, the spirit continued and got stuff done to push back on British and end up giving Jamaica back its independence. So definitely shout out to him for that, you know. All right, next one up is Toussaint. As we all know, Toussaint, famous for the Haitian Revolution. Toussaint was a slave who rose to become the leader in the only successful slave revolt in modern history, known as the Haitian Revolution. You know, Toussaint went on to go ahead and defeat a lot of the British. His actions eventually arose the Napoleon, and in 1802, Napoleon dispatched his brother-in-law Charles to capture Toussaint and return the island to slavery under French control. Captured and imprisoned Toussaint, where Toussaint later died of pneumonia. The independence of Saint Domingo followed 1 year later in 1804 under the leadership of Jean Jacques Dessalines, one of Toussaint's generals who changed the name to Haiti. All right. So definitely that was powerful, which leads into the Haitian Revolution. And the Haitian Revolution, definitely, hold on, got it here. So the Haitian Revolution, as you guys know, was the largest and most successful slave rebellion in the Western Hemisphere. Enslaved people initiated a rebellion from 1791, and by 1803, they had succeeded in ending not just slavery, but French control over the colony. The Haitian Revolution, however, was much more complex and consists of several revolutions going on simultaneously. These revolutions were influenced by the French Revolution of 1789, which would come to represent the new concept of human rights, universal citizenship, and participation in the government. And we all know that the Haitian Revolution was so successful that it empowered everybody all over the world to join in and revolt as well. I think Venezuela, there's some other countries that also had free slaves as well due to the Haitian Revolution. Haiti thus emerged as the first Black republic in the world and the second nation in the Western Hemisphere after the United States to win its independence from the European power. All right. Next up is the trial slave ship rebellion. And let's see here. Hold on, got it here. The trial slave ship rebellion in 1805. It was a little known account to the slave ship uprising in the South Pacific off the coast of Chile. In 1803, the number of West African Muslims were purchased by the Spanish in what is now Senegal and put on a slave ship bound to Buenos Aires in the Spanish colony of Argentina. After their arrival, they were marched across Argentina, Pampas, and the Andreas Mountains to the Chilean port, and there were 72 surviving Africans were placed on another Spanish ship, the Trial, which intended to take them north of the slave market of Peru and Ecuador. Somewhere along the route, Babo and Moro, two leaders of the enslaved Muslims, orchestrated a successful rebellion on board of the Trial in December 1804. They took command of the ship, killing most of the Spanish crew members while holding captain hostage. For nearly 3 months, the freed Africans sailed the ship to the South Pacific in vain in hopes to return to Senegal. The vessel leaders were not trained sailors, but they had learned the Spanish language during their years of captivity and used the knowledge of the stars to guide the ship southward along to the Chilean coast. So shout out to those brothers for getting on that ship, whooping ass, and then learning the language, and were able to go back to their original home as free slaves. All right. Henry Davis. We definitely have Henry Davis here, and Henry Davis is, oh gosh, where is it? Henry Davis. Hold on. Where's Henry Davis? Hold on. I think I got Henry Davis here somewhere. Hold on. Okay, Henry Davis. We have it here. Henry Davis, 1827 to 1911. Henry Davis was an anti-slavery activist who participated in the largest and most violent antebellum response to Fugitive Slave Act in 1850. Green, a teamster and occupation, was born by Township Lancaster in Pennsylvania of 1827. He was the son of Benjamin, a mulatto man, and Sarah Green, a white woman. Green took part in which nearly a year after the passage of the Fugitive Slave Act of September 18, 1850. With that act, the federal marshals were given authority to track down fugitives and slaves to arrest them who harbored and defended them. Green, in turn, joined other free blacks in the southern Pennsylvania in creating an organization of mutual protection whose members vowed to prevent the capture and re-enslavement of runaways as well, and protect those who operated in the Underground Railroad in those areas. They pledged to protection even the risk of their own lives. After listening to the speeches by Frederick Douglass and William Garrison, who lectured in nearby Lancaster. Shout out to Henry Davis and those fellas for out there protecting the free slaves and making sure the runaway slaves weren't being harmed as well. So that was a critical part of the Underground Railroad that they don't tell you about. Cherie Lewis Lear was one of the several black men who were killed during the John Brown's raid on the ferry. It was a defining moment in African American history. He was the second of 5 children born from North Carolina, Fayetteville, to free black parents. And he was a descendant of Irish immigrants. His mother was a mixed race and conflicting accounts of her heritage. He quickly became involved in the town's abolitionist movement, and he participated in the slave rescue, which he assisted John Price, a runaway slave, after a drastic effort to keep Price from federal marshals, and the rescuers helped him cross the border to Canada and freedom. 37 men were arrested and died for the violating of the fugitive slave law. Charges were dropped against Larry and most of those arrested. Soon after, he joined the white abolitionist John Brown's effort to engineer an armed rebellion of slaves at the Harper's Ferry Arsenal in Cleveland, Ohio. So shout out to him for joining this definite rebellion that helped, also was led by Mary Peasant, who was the black millionaire out of California that funded John Brown revolution. So all of this was trickle down information that a lot of people did not know about. All right. Definitely going to give you a couple more. I'm not going to go into all of this. There's so many more. You have the Battle of Lake Okeechobee in 1837. You also have the Amistad Mutiny in 1839. You also have the Wellington Rescue in 1858. And you have Harper's Ferry Raid in 1859. Didn't want to take too much time to get into that, but definitely wanted you guys to see what was going on so you guys could go out there and do the added research for it. I know we're running out of time, so I definitely want to get into our last crown check of the night, which is a phenomenal woman, right? So I think this woman is very phenomenal, but you guys be the judge of it, right? So we have our crown check for tonight is a woman by the name of Fawn Weaver. So Uncle Nearest Premier Whiskey, now valued at $900 million, aims to maintain its status as a Black-owned and Black-led company, with the founder, Fawn Weaver, planning to buy out its investors, including Craig Leopold, a majority owner of the NHL Minnesota Wild, right?
Wow.
Weaver's goal is to keep the company from being sold to white-owned entity and a rivalry amongst black-led consumer companies. Despite the unconventional funding approach and the significant growth, Weaver remains committed to preserving Uncle Nearest legacy, rooted in the story of Nathan Nearest Green, who taught Jack Daniels the art of whiskey distillation, right? What's it? Distill, right?
Distillation, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Fawn Weaver is an African American entrepreneur, the author who holds the position of CEO of Grant Sydney. She co-founded the Uncle Nearest Premium Whiskey, where she serves as the chief historian. She is the founder of the Nearest Green Foundation. In March 2021, she was named the Endeavor Board of Directors. So the sisters out here doing some seriously great stuff. You know, she in 2020, Weaver started a Black-owned business booster program to help 10 Black-owned spirits companies with branding, distribution, and capital. In June 2021, Weaver and Uncle Nearest formed the 50 million Uncle Nearest Venture Fund to invest in minority-owned spirits companies.
Wow.
So shout out to this sister for doing such a great, phenomenal job. And that's our show for the night.
Yo.
You guys definitely could close us out.
I didn't know Uncle Nearest was throwing around M's like that. Damn.
Yeah.
It's worth 900 million. They got a fund that they put out for Black-owned spirits companies to the tune of 50 million. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Wow, that's phenomenal. I had no idea they were moving like that.
Oh
yeah.
Phenomenal sister, phenomenal crown check. That's what I love to see. I love to see when our sisters really make you respect what they have to offer. You understand? That's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So shout out to that sister and what she's doing. We come from a very, very powerful, resilient lineage. You know, in my own family, I can say, you know, on my mother's side of the family, we had people who were in the civil rights movement. You know what I'm saying? FBA people that were involved in the civil rights struggle. On my father's side of the family, I can say that we had people that were involved in the Mau Mau uprising in Kenya that ran the British out of Kenya. I can say that on both sides. I got revolutionaries on both sides of my family. I'm very proud of that. And, you know, even if you don't have revolutionaries on both sides of your family, maybe both of your parents are coons. Maybe one of them's a coon. I don't know. But you need to break that cycle. If that's the case, you know what I'm saying? Those of you out there, you know what your lineage is like. You know how y'all got down. You know whether or not even today, are you contributing? Are you contributing to the struggle, or are you part of the problem? I think that, you know, the most important thing that we take from this is that we need to be contributing to the struggle because it is ongoing. We still haven't found the promised land, so to speak. We're still struggling. We're still out here trying to find equality. We're still trying to get our freedom, justice, and equality to this day. And if you are not part of the solution, then you need to work on making yourself part of the solution. That can be done with a few very simple steps, like we talked about earlier. You know, spend within your community. Spend with other people who look like you. That makes a difference. Make a conscious effort to do that. You know, refrain from spending your dollars with those who openly show their disdain for you.
Yeah.
That should also be something that we practice. You know, we need to all get out here, get armed, and get some type of training. Because in the past, we have failed because we've been unable to protect what we had. You understand? Those are just 3 really basic things that we need to do. Like, and we can start those things today so that we become part of the solution, you know, to moving ourselves forward as a people. And shout out to the ancestors, respect and honor. We salute you. We appreciate your contributions. And we are definitely, the 3 of us, we are definitely here to help you guys move forward in the spirit of progress by getting our code together and creating a paradigm shift so that we're all on the right page and we got the right energy to contribute in a positive way.
Yeah.
That's so much good stuff baking and brewing. A lot of powerful events that have happened this month alone. A lot of amazing people were born, amazing people passed away. I meant to kick you some a bio to drop about, but I wasn't sure if you're going to get to them or not. But another momentous thing that occurred this past week was the birth of one of our master teachers, one of the greats, all-time greats, Dr. Amos N. Wilson. That brother just mined is a whole entire mine of goodness and gems. I specifically love a lot of the lectures and writings he did regarding education and the importance of nurturing the brains of young Black children and making them powerhouses in that fashion of Blackness by rebuking colonization and really tapping into the talents and gifts that they have, and really hammering home a lot of how really understanding history and the world begins with understanding ourselves. Because, and I shared this excerpt from one of his books on my page earlier, when you don't know and understand yourself, then you are basically at the mercy of what anyone and everyone else tells you about yourself. You really can't rebut or refute anything because you don't have a prior context. And so when that's the case, it's easy to mislead you about everything else. But once you know who you are, and then you start understanding your history and how you fit into the world, then you start understanding everybody else and who they are and how they fit into the world. And then you get a better sense of understanding what everything is and how everything is. So it was a blessing to have that brother born into this time. But definitely recommend everyone to go and maybe not read a whole book of his. I definitely would if you're a bookworm, but go find a lecture. They do have some of them on YouTube. Pull up a lecture, a little 5-minute, 10-minute, 20-minute lecture, and listen to some of the gems and listen to some of the wisdom that he has to impart to us. Every bit as relevant for today as it was back then. But to continue on with the theme of what's been talked about, baby steps, little things. You don't actually have to do a whole lot. Just small changes will add up over time, will compound. Is there a Black grocery store anywhere near you? Are there Black products that you could buy? Black deodorant, shampoo, hair care products, sneakers and clothing. Maybe there's a restaurant you can patronize more often. But just the little everyday things that will stack up and make a difference. And every month, take it upon yourself to find a new Black business, a new Black entrepreneur and support. You know, all these different things do mean something. And it's not just a case of spending your dollars, but it's also the seed that you're passing on to somebody else, that encouragement, that motivation for them to keep on and continue and to do better and to improve. And when you purchase, don't just leave it there. Actually give feedback. We talked about this when Melanin Monroe was on the show. Shout out to the sister. You know, give that feedback and let them know, hey, this is what I like. This is what I didn't like. Or, you know what, I really would appreciate it if this was here. Really be the eyes and the ears. A lot of companies actually spend big money. We're talking millions on millions of dollars annually on market research. They pay for these focus groups where they get in and they have random people on the street give their thoughts and ideas about what they think about different things. And they use that to tweak and tailor their products and their services, their advertising, everything about how they do business so they can appeal to more consumers. Obviously, if you're an up-and-coming entrepreneur, you don't have that kind of war chest for that kind of intel gathering. So if you're purchasing these products, let them know, hey, I really like this. I really appreciated this. Maybe the smell on this particular fragrance was too strong, or maybe there could have been a little more of this ingredient. But these different little things will go a long way into helping these service providers and these inventors and creators make their products better for you. Because it shouldn't just be a case of I'm just support. It shouldn't be a case of supporting. It should be a case of I'm purchasing this product because it is superior to whatever else like it is on the market. I want to buy this because it's the best deodorant in the market. I want to buy this because it's the best bag on the market, not just because I'm supporting someone. I want to get maximum value for my dollar, and I recognize that I'm getting that here because I'm giving my feedback. They're responding to me. They're listening to my concerns and wants and needs, and now we have this beautiful ecosystem that's on and popping. But again, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day. It's going to take us a while to get to where we need to be. Continue to have patience, strive with each other, and let's continue to make Black history every day. Black History Month is coming to a close, but again, that's a small chunk of the year. Every day is Black History. So as we go back and we looking at these events and these pioneers, these trailblazers, these waymakers, these revolutionaries, these people that have contributed to where we are today, we should be most concerned about what are we doing to replace that. 20 years down the line, 100 years down the line, 300 years down the line, when they look back in our time span, who are they going to say were the movers and shakers, were the notables, the people who did something that helped to push the needle and advance the movement forward? Rest in peace to Brother Eric Mays, who just passed. Who's going to be the next politician in Flint to step up and to accept the mantle and to be unapologetic and representing the needs and wants and the agenda of the people? Who's going to be that person all around in different respects in different areas? You know, when a tree falls, it's important that seeds are planted so that another tree will pop up and take its place. So we can't just be content to sit back and celebrate those who came before us. We need to make sure that we're living up to the representation they gave us. We need to make sure that while we're standing on the shoulders of those giants, that we're becoming the giants that the next generation will get to stand on the shoulders of. As always, like, share, subscribe, tell somebody about these somebodies that's out here trying to game up everybody else. Same time, same place. Much love. Be safe. We'll catch y'all next week.
Yeah,
definitely. You out, Major? You good?
Yeah. I said my piece. You know what I mean?
Okay. We'll see you guys next week at 9 o'clock. I have a Zoom that I have to do, so we'll definitely be on at 9. So check us out, and make sure that you tell a friend to tell a friend. All right.
There it is.
All right.
Yeah.
We out.
Yeah.
Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation.
A place where we inform, build, and
Man up.
inspire.
Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestation.
A place where we inform, build, and
Man up.
inspire.
You gotta eat what you kill. You gotta go out there, you gotta hunt for your meals.
We all have that ability to connect with people, to be that motivational person in somebody's life.
You gotta let people know there's certain lines you don't cross, and that there's gonna be consequences if you do.
Man up.
If you are an adult and you are in a relationship, that person's emotions are not your responsibility.
Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation.
A place where we inform, build, and
Man up.
inspire.
The devil, during slavery, destroyed the masculinity or manhood of the so-called Negro. No man. Right now you got to be trained all over again to be a man.
When someone is obligated to do something, it is binding upon them to do it. And failure to do it causes reactions.
Man up.
Position make you rich. I don't have that type of richness. My richness is life forever.
If black people knew their glorious past, if black people knew their glorious past, if black people knew their glorious past, then they would be more inclined to respect themselves.
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job, is to spark somebody else watching us.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
You want to tell me about yourself? Go get your friends. I'll tell you who you are based on who your friends are.
Don't just live and die. That's an ugly existence. Make your life matter, make your life count. Live a life where people can actually mourn you for the things you left behind, not just because you were around and existed.
We need strong black nuclear family.
Yes. Yes.
That's what it is. Mother, father, son, daughter, all in the same house with a focus on the family unit as a whole.
We had Tulsa, Atlanta, New Jersey, Detroit. We had Rosewood. We had Black Wall Streets all over.
The Republicans aren't for us, but the Democrats aren't for us either. And we should have no alliance to any political party. We only have alliance to what is in our own best interest.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
At the end of the day, as men in the community, we must stand together and be counted, because people look to us for guidance, leadership, and protection. And if we are not about that business, we are not on our job. Here we have grown-ass man conversations in the spirit of that purpose. Anthony Malcolm, Bobby Drake, Major Gage. We are. This is Manifestations 2020.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.